Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for Game 2 of our twi-night doubleheader. And yes, if you just got home and turned us on, that's because Game 1 went 17 innings, and the Tigers finally prevailed in that one 4-3. Welcome back to MSG's coverage of Yankee baseball. Here getting ready for Game 2, Jim Kaat along with Ken Singleton. And Kenny, I think you can laugh about games like that because a hit here, a bounce there, it goes either way. But the harsh reality of it, I think, right now for the Yankees is maybe their number one concern. They have a big lead, but I think Joe Torre would like to see this lineup get a little more productive.
A little more offense supplied at the right time. The Yankees left the bases loaded 4 times in extra innings without being able to punch across the game-winning run. So Wright certainly he wants to see them hit a little better in run-scoring situations, and something that didn't happen in the first game. But he's got sort of a makeshift lineup in the second game. He wants to give some people some rest in the second game. Well, the Yankees are going to be back in action tomorrow night. So certain players are going to be out, although Derek Jeter plays every single day. He's in there once again. He's young, he's strong, he can do it.
Yeah, I think right now Joe Torre on one hand is saying, I got a 15-game lead, no reason to panic, but by the same token, he kind of wants to keep this locomotive going, as you mentioned, get some more runs on the board. And to keep the locomotive going, the one thing that has driven this team all year is good starting pitching. They got a good effort from David Wells in Game 1, and Hideki Irabu's done quite well against Detroit. He pitches Game 2.
Well, he's undefeated against the Tigers. Of course, he won his first Major League game against Detroit. He beat them last Wednesday night at Tiger Stadium by a score 11-0. He won 8 shutout innings in that ball game. Mike Buddy finished it up. But Irabu, I guess you could say he has the eyes on the Tiger because he has beaten them 3 times. And actually, the reason why we're playing a doubleheader is because a game that Irabu started earlier this year here at Yankee Stadium was rained out. And in that ball game, the ball game had gone about 4 innings, and Irabu had 8 strikeouts before the game was stopped because of rain. So he has pitched well against the Tigers in the past.
He's got his rally cap on already, Hideki Irabu, and he'll face Bryce Flory. Bryce Flory made his first start as a big leaguer last year against the Yankees about a year ago when he was a member of the Milwaukee Brewers. He has good stuff. He's not been very durable. He's just coming off the disabled list. So in Game 2, it'll be Hideki Irabu and Bryce Flory as the Yankees try to earn a split in this rare twi-night doubleheader. Back on MSG with Game 2 coverage when we return after these messages.
Baseball is brought to you by the irresistible taste that makes you say, did somebody say McDonald's? By American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. By your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. And by Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Center.
A late night look at the city from our perch here at Yankee Stadium as we get set for Game 2. Hideki Irabu, the Yankee starter, he probably got to the ballpark about 5:30 this evening, thinking that would be in the middle of Game 1. Little did he know it would go 5 hours and 50 minutes. He's coming off a good start against these Detroit Tigers.
He really had a very good split finger in that ball game, along with a piercing fastball to the corners. It was his best start in quite a while as he picked up his 8th win of the year.
Seeing 100 innings and still a good strikeout walk ratio and among the league leaders in ERA. How rare would it be if the Tigers were to sweep this doubleheader? The Yankees coming into tonight 24-3 in home games against right-handed starters. They lost Game 1 against one. Here's the lineup. Buddy Bell will post. Brian Hunter, Damian Easley, and Bobby Higginson at the top. Then Tony Clark, Luis Gonzalez. The newcomer Trey Beeman is the designated hitter. The first game hero Joe Randa bats 7th, Paul Bacco 8th, and Davey Cruz is back in the lineup. He bats 9th. They're brought to you by Bob Stores.
Defensively for the Yankees in this second ball game of the doubleheader, Rance Curtis O'Neill in the outfield, Soho, Jeter, Bush, and Swaim in the infield. Girardi behind the plate for Hideki Irabu. And Luis Soho could play second, short, or third. Finds himself in third in the second game.
And a blazing fastball from Irabu just outside to Brian Hunter. In for a strike. We talked about the decline in doubleheaders. Secondary audio programming available on our Yankee Tiger telecast. The decline in doubleheaders, particularly in the 90s. sharply towards short. Jeter is there. Boy, he handled a lot of chances flawlessly in game 1. And he starts out game 2 by throwing out Brian Hunter. Check out our umpires lineup, brought to you by NAM. Most cost-effective way to settle your disputes. And John Shulock, the crew chief, has moved over to second base. Tim Cheetah's behind the plate. Then Rick Reed and Cubby Culberth at the corners. As Damian Easley steps in and waves at the fastball. Players today, mentally and physically, Kenny, not as accustomed to playing doubleheaders. So this is really a new experience for a lot of them. We talked about how years ago it was, a baseball staple to have at least one doubleheader a week.
Well, they do get some in the minor leagues, but those are usually 7 innings apiece for the doubleheaders. Good breaking ball.
Drops low. It's a ball and a strike. Easily, as Suzyn Waldman will feature on our pregame show on Wednesday afternoon, had a nice visit with Damian Easley, and he talked about his boyhood hero Willie Randolph. There's a good hook in for a strike, and it's 1-2. And how Buddy Bell has given him a chance to play regularly in Detroit, and he's become an all-star, as was his manager. Good split it. Wow, that is as good a sequence as you can pitch against Easley. Fastball, curveball, and then with a 2-strike, the bottom falls out of this one.
The dangerous pitch was the high fastball, which he swung and missed on the first one. Then the splitter, wham, elevator down. This ends up out of the strike zone. You can see the kind of a weak swing by Easley. He also threw him a nice slow curve in that sequence. I think that's the difference in Arabu this year. That slow curveball that sets up every other pitch.
I've got a few of those left from game 1. Those K's in on the handle, and Higginson lofts this into short right center, where Homer Bush makes a nice running catch. He's playing second base in game 2. The Tigers go quickly and quietly against Hideki Irabu. Yankees coming to bat against Bryce Flory when we come back on MSG. Flory, he was just activated before the game to make this start, and to make room for him, the Tigers optioned Kamara Barti, who played quite a bit in game 1. They optioned him back to the minor leagues. Here's the lineup Joe Torre has posted in game 2. You'll note quite a few changes. Used to call these guys the Scribinis, the shock troops, whatever you want to refer to them as. Homer Bush is one of them. He leads off. Then Jeter, O'Neill, Strawberry in the cleanup spot. Tim Raines in left. Chad Curtis moves over to center. Bernie Williams will get game 2 off. Then Dale Swaim, Luis Sojo, and Joe Girardi batting 9th. So Bryce Flory, a 28-year-old right-hander who the Yankees saw make his first major league start last year, July 21st at County Stadium.
Defensively for the Tigers, Gonzalez, Hunter, and Higginson in the outfield. Randa, Cruz, Easley, Clark in the infield. Paco doing the catching.
He's one of those good old North Carolina hard-knocking pitchers. He's from Goose Creek.
Population.
Make that South Carolina. He's 5-3 before he went on the DL. Good movement on the fastball. That's in for a strike. Buddy Bell said the problem's keeping him healthy.
Shoulder problems had him on the disabled list. Here's a guy who hasn't started very often in his career. He's been more or less used out of the bullpen.
Hit well, left center field and deep. Gonzalez on the run. He is not going to get that. Homer Bush will have a ground rule double. Tigers got a break. If that ball had hit the wall instead of hopped over, Bush would have had a triple easily. Boy, he showed some pop.
Well, I've been informed that Homer Bush is going to be on our pregame tomorrow night, so he's playing like he wants to have something positive to show as far as highlights are concerned. He gets a ground rule double to start off this ball game. Now, if the Tigers mishandle the ball out in left center, you know Homer Bush has the type of speed to get himself to third. Might want to watch for Derek Jeter trying to push that bunt to the right side, move Bush over to third base.
We'll see what Joe Torre opts to do in game 2. The Yankees had such a difficult time knocking runners in from scoring position. That's on the inside edge for a strike. He has had a busy night, Derek Jeter. He's been on the bases a lot, and he has really made some great plays in the field. There's a good sharp break-in slider, and it's 0-2.
By the way, that double for Homer Bush, his first ever Major League extra base hit.
All right, Homer Bush. Wow, that's quite a sequence of pitches by Bryce Flory. Jeter down on strikes, and Flory handled him quite easily.
Well, the bad thing about it, Bush is left at second. He hasn't been advanced by Jeter. Breaking ball, tight slider, nice break to it. Late break strikes him out.
Yep. A lot of Paul O'Neill fans around Yankee Stadium.
Yo, Paulie.
Foul out of play. If you look at the hitting line in game one, you'd say Paul O'Neill had a good game, but if you went down between games and asked him, he would tell you he missed a lot of hittable pitches in some key situations. Did get his 71st RBI. That knocked in the first Yankee run in the first inning. Just missed the outside edge. 1-1.
You know, when that starts to happen to you, it's getting to be well, it's past the All-Star break, getting near August, what they call the dog days of the season. I want to go down an ounce or two in a bet just for a little while, just to see what happens.
Inside 2-1. Heard Mark McGuire say that he hoped the fans wouldn't be disappointed, but he's just not going to take batting practice a lot. Strawberry's a cleanup hitter. He waits on deck. You get into August and September, I think our director Bill Webb said the temperature on the turf in St. Louis on Saturday was 144 degrees.
Wow.
Guys are, like you mentioned, you might drop down a couple ounces in the weight of the bat or not take as much batting practice. See, good swing there again, but just most of the foul balls tonight by the Yankee hitters have been just a little tardy. Not a lot. Just enough to make them foul balls and not drive them maybe into left center. Chris Chambliss still on the coaching lines with the head injury to Jose Cardinal, keeping him inactive.
You know, one thing I used to do was use Mark Melander's bat for a while.
Yeah, it was about 24 ounces. The blade.
I asked him if I could use it. He said, well, you're going to get more hits out of it than I will. Go ahead.
It's probably brand new, no marks on it. Of course, Mark known for a terrific glove, but that's what he was in there for. If he hit anything, it was a bonus. There's Homer Bush at second, led off the game with a double. Towards second base. Easily to Clark, and O'Neill is retired as Bush advances to third, but with 2 out. And the reaction from the fans that have stuck around for game 2 for Darryl Strawberry, the cleanup hitter tonight. Ooh, wow. I mean, that had the black seats written all over it. That was some swing.
Well, you know, if you're Bryce Flory, you got to think, well, I got away with one. I better not throw anything near that area again.
Outside, 1-1.
The way Brian Hunter in center field is playing Strawberry, he's playing him to the opposite field a couple of steps.
Low.
When you come up to the plate, you used to like to check the defense. Sometimes the defense would tell you approximately what they're going to try and do to you.
Pitch him away, play him away.
That's what I think is going to happen here.
And Baca was set up outside. Boy, Flory does have good stuff. His stuff is live. Got some late movement to it. Count 2-2 now to Strawberry.
Particularly that center fielder, where the center fielder lines up. And sometimes you catch the infielders moving too.
Got him. Boy, good inning by Bryce Flory. Struck out Jeter and Strawberry after the leadoff double by Homer Bush. Tigers won game 1. Hideki Irabu will try to earn the split for the Yankees. No score after 1. Back after these words. No score. We head to the top of the second. Tony Clark to lead it off against Irabu. Foul out of play down the left field line. That'll reach the seats. Average at 276. We pointed up in the open of game 1. Since the All-Star break, he is hitting over 300. Well, after that first game, you could lose 50 points on your average in 17-inning games, seems like. Good pitch by Irabu. And it's quickly 0-2.
In the early going here, it looks like Irabu has pretty good control of his fastball. And now that he's got 2 strikes on Clark, you know what's going through Tony's mind? That splitter's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood here.
In the neighborhood of the knees and end up on the ground. Fastball. Didn't get it exactly where he wanted to, and with Tony Clark's strength, he grounds the 0-2 pitch into right center field for a leadoff single. Yankees will be home a week before they head to the West Coast. Let's check out our upcoming schedule courtesy of Delta Airlines. We'll have the rest of the Tiger series for you on MSG. 7 o'clock with the New York City Marriott Scorecard Show tomorrow night. Then 12:30 on Wednesday. Day off Thursday. White Sox in for a weekend series. Saturday, the ever popular Old Timers Day. 2 o'clock start. And then it's off to the West Coast. Here is Luis Gonzalez. Inside for a ball.
The Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium, always a popular affair. The great Yankees of the past coming back this year, featuring the Yankee championship teams of the 70s.
Foul out of play.
So you get a chance to see Willie Randolph and Chris Chambliss.
Greg
turn
Nettles.
it back to clock.
Yeah. Greg Nettles ought to be here.
Goose Gossage.
Well, you look at Goose Gossage in spring training, Willie Randolph right now, and Chris Chambliss. I mean, they look like they could play a few innings.
A few.
It's only a 3 or 4 inning game.
Yeah, that's true.
Outside, because of the inability to communicate other than through George Rose with Hideki Irabu, you can't crawl inside his mind and find out really competitively what he's thinking right now after the Yankees lose that tough 1-run game in 17 innings. You know, if it were David Cone and you could speak to him, you know that he's going to the mound saying, hey, I've got to really come up with a big effort. Starting pitching is the cornerstone of this team. After a grueling, draining 17-inning game, it's the starting pitcher that sets the tone. In on the handle, headed toward right. Plenty of room for O'Neill. He puts it away. That's the first out of the Tigers' second.
That's why you hope that Irabu in the future learn a little more English and come up. When Fernando Valenzuela first came to United States with the Dodgers, had to have an interpreter all the time. Now everybody calls him Freddie now because you can go right up to him and talk to him. And I wonder how much English Nomo has learned. He's been here a little bit longer. We know Shigetoshi Hasegawa of California or Anaheim does speak some English.
And Yoshi of the Mets also. Here's Trey Beeman. Tigers Yankees didn't see him in game 1. And he is the designated hitter. And you saw on that graphic a pretty good hitter. Most of those as a pinch hitter, almost a 500 average.
Another guy with some pretty good speed.
Fouled out of play. And as you might expect, another player that went through the San Diego chain on his way to the Detroit Tigers. Played a bit with Pittsburgh in 1996 and was traded from the Pirates to the Padres and now on to the Yankees.
A Randy Smith connection.
Yeah, a career 300 hitter in the minor leagues. Breaking ball misses the outside edge. 2-1. 24 years old, out of Dallas, Texas.
Nice even straightaway stance, foot deep in the box, feet spread wide apart. Ooh.
Pretty long swing by Beeman, and he couldn't catch up with that fastball.
Long swing with a short time to get to this pitch. Wham! Fastball right on by him.
Linda Ronstadt, huh? The Blue Bayou. 2-2 to Beeman. He is the third Clifford Beeman, thus the nickname Trey, or the name Trey. Who? No chance.
Two in a row. That would kind of up and in. Too long a swing for that type of fastball. Those are the two hardest pitches that Hideki has thrown tonight.
And here is, let's see, at Ebbets Field. That's on the edge for a strike. The Dodger fans would say, here comes that man again, Stan the Man. They'd be saying that about Joe Randa. He knocked in the tying run in game 1 in the 7th inning, and then the game winner in the 17th inning.
That's why he's smiling.
Yeah, grinning like he's enjoying it. Breaking ball hangs high, 1-1. Pirates, Kansas City, those were Randa's teams before he got over here to the Tigers. Another breaking ball high. It's 2-1.
One of the reasons why both those clubs let him go, and he's primarily a third baseman, because he didn't supply enough power at third. Now he is a pretty good average hitter, and one reason why he was dangerous in those situations that we saw in the first game, because he just tries to lay bat on ball and make contact. It's not like he's trying to leave earth and win the game with one swing of the bat.
That's a good fastball, and he won it with 2 smooth soft swings of the bat in game 1. Yeah, a lot of organizations want the third baseman to be a power hitter, rolling up the ace bandage just in case it's necessary. One of the Tiger trainers. Poke toward first base, but foul.
See, there's an example of what I'm talking about with Random. Remember that base hit that tied the game? Just laid the bat out on the ball, a pitch for Mendoza in the first game, and just stroked it into right field. Now this one is kind of like an emergency swing, just trying to make contact, hit it the other way, cutting down on his swing.
And he has the ability to stay on top of the high pitch. Instead of popping it up, he stays on top of it. I tell you, he looks like he's having fun.
You know, with guys like this who swing the bat like that and with 2 strikes really cut down his swing, I think you really got to come inside with good hard fastball. Make them swing the bat.
Tapped out towards shortstop. We've seen Jeter make that play, seems like a half a dozen times tonight. On the run, flip throw to Swaim in time. Arabu has shut the Tigers out through 2. Yankees coming to bat against Bryce Flory when we come back. Inning 2 of Game 2 at the stadium. New York Yankee baseball brought to you in part by your Tri-State Ford dealers. That's why you drive a Ford. 27-year-old Bryce Flory. Kenny mentioned his shoulder problems, on the disabled list with a back strain, but he is active tonight. Just put on the roster prior to the start of Game 2. And he had quite an impressive first inning after the leadoff double to Homer Bush. Here's Tim Raines. Low for a ball.
And Flory made his first appearance in the big leagues back in '94 with the San Diego Padres. Pitched in 9 games, pitched well to a 0.96 ERA, but up until last year had never worked as a starter, at least in the major leagues.
Yeah, with that 17-inning game, that doesn't bode well for Buddy Bell's pitching staff. He had to use all of his pitchers in game 1, and you really can't look for much more than 5 innings out of Fleury based on his past performance. Reigns ahead in the count, 3-0. He's playing left field tonight. Bernie Williams started game 1, played all 17 innings, had a good game, so just fresh off the DL, he'll get a rest in game 2. In for a strike, 3-1. Well, the advantage of having this game at almost 11 o'clock in the second inning, we can sure bring you up to date on all of the scores around baseball. White Sox game is already completed. The Mets game is over. The Pirates, talk about some young pitching. The Pirates have it. They beat the Mets 3-1. And the Phillies behind Curt Schilling. Kevin Tapani, the starter for the Cubs, had his first home run, a grand slammer, and they beat the. You think he's not chirping in that clubhouse tonight about hitting?
Beat the Braves too, of all teams.
There's Chad Curtis. That's in for a strike. Speaking of the Cubs and the Braves, if you're down in Atlanta, what a treat that's going to be to watch that game tomorrow night. It's Kerry Wood against Greg Maddux, the pitching matchup. Nose and Tim Cheetah 1-1. You got a quick look at the footwork of Tony Clark, and again, one of our faithful viewers, Ed Thompson, has talked about different positions that first baseman use. See that Clark at 6'7", he's got the right foot against the bag. He can give Fleury a target, and then he'll move off the bag as the pitch goes toward home plate. Give him almost use the bag like a starting block to get off the bag and get in fielding position.
Well, you know he has good footwork. Anytime you're going to average 40 points a game, no matter what league you're in. He did that in high school. Basketball.
Fouled straight back. Good swing by Curtis. He was right on that one.
You got to figure he's got some good footwork. Nice drop step at least. Tony Clark. Tigers signed him to a 4-year deal. He and several other of the young Tigers locked up in Detroit last week. We saw where the new ballpark is going to be. There's no construction going on. There's a very large hole in the ground near Greektown.
Yeah, on the hands. Randa. They get the lead out. That's all they'll get as Curtis reaches on the fielder's choice. That's the first out of the second inning.
Joe Randa played second in the first game. Now switches over to his more normal position at third base. Nice high hop, the transfer and the throw, and then easily realized the speed of the ball that was hit to Randa. No chance to get two.
It does everything in a fundamentally proper method. Nothing flashy. And I remember during his Kansas City days, the reason they were, I don't want to say down on him, but they didn't project him to be a regular third baseman, was the lack of power. Swaim takes ball one that you referred to earlier. He just doesn't supply that kind of sock at the corner position.
You know what happens, I think, Kitty, at certain positions with certain ball clubs when they're trying to fill a void? Everybody wants the next guy to be like George Brett. And that's not going to happen.
Into the bat, left field, hit fairly well, but Gonzalez has lots of room, puts it away. And that is the second out of the Yankees' second. Check out our New York City Marriott's pitching matchup. Bryce Fleury has had some problems with left-handers. Hideki Irabu actually does better against lefties. He's third in the league in earned run average, and that's because of that split finger fastball. It kind of goes down and away, keeping the pitching arm stretched out.
He's also third in the league in batting average against. Works out to 220, the lefties and the righties, and that's behind Pedro Martinez and Roger Clemens. That's not too bad.
No, that's in for a strike. And the international flavor of baseball coming through again when you talk American League pitching. The top three in ERA: Bartolo Colon, Pedro Martinez, and Hideki Irabu. None of them from the United States. Bryce Fleury is from Goose River, South Carolina. On deck, Joe Girardi. Got a nice rest in game one. He and Soho, the only two position players. It didn't work. 0-2 to Soho.
I guess when you stand over at first base next to Tony Clark, you got to be expecting to look up at Tony. But look at the difference. He's not even on the bag.
He can block you off the bag with one foot. See if Curtis with the 0-2 2-out count tries to steal second. Nope. Tapped out to the mound. Flory will make the play. He shut down the Yankees. They're in quite a funk right now. The Yankees, the last run they scored was in the third inning of game one. So they have gone 17 innings without a run. We're heading to the third. No score at the stadium. Top of the third at the stadium, and fans don't miss the excitement when the Yankees continue this series against the Tigers tomorrow night, Tuesday, July 21st, 7:30 start. David Cohn and Brian Moeller, the pitchers. Then on Wednesday, an afternoon affair, 1 o'clock start, and fans 14 and under receive a Yankee bandana, compliments of Modell's. Tickets available at the stadium, Ticketmaster, through the Yankee Clubhouse stores, and as always on the web. Hideki Irabu, his first pitch to catcher Paul Bacco. He has to catch game two. The regular catcher Raul Casanova strained a hamstring in game one.
Yeah, we saw that sign said, "Yo, Paulie, you the man."
Yeah,
that's Paul Bacco. That was for him. He's the man behind home plate.
That's right. And the Irabu fans with flags flying at the stadium. 2-0. Good fastball, fouled straight back.
I just thought of something. Most of the games that Irabu pitches, I think every single one of them is shown back to Japan. Now, the good thing for the people of Japan, because this first game went so long, this is more like a regular early morning game for them, rather than that 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning thing they've been seeing all season long.
Only problem is nobody told them they could sleep in. They didn't know the first one was going 17 innings. You're right. I think I want to say they're on about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning there. So this one probably not to about 8:30 or 9. Yeah. A lot of those pictures flashed right there will be on the Japanese sports section tomorrow. And late again on the fastball, 3-2.
People get a chance to see Hideki on their way to work.
And this is the team, as Kenny pointed out, that he defeated for his first major league win. And you see how well he's pitched against the Tigers. And there's a reason for that. The Tigers have a lot of inexperienced hitters and free swingers like Brian Hunter that when he gets ahead in the count, they'll chase pitches. Count holds 3-2. Inning number 4, Suzyn Waldman will join Ken Singleton. And we mentioned Suzyn with a nice interview with Damian Easley, the Tigers' second baseman. That's in the kitchen deep. Soho on the ball off the trademark of the bat of Bacco, throws him out, 1 down.
That's going to be a long night for Paul Bacco. Hand's going to sting a little bit more after he gets back to the dugout. Jam shot, rolled towards third. Plenty of time for Soho to straighten up, throw him. Look at that nice glove.
Red glove.
Yeah.
Rojo Guante, I guess they would say.
Rojo for Soho.
In Venezuela. Red glove. Here's Brian Hunter, or his second at bat. I'm sorry, that's Davey Cruz in his first at bat. First pitch swinging. You know he's going to swing the bat. He's only walked 9 times all year, and the first pitch out there is 2 down in the Tiger third.
Center fielder Brian Hunter.
Now Brian Hunter will step in for his second at bat. A good fastball in for a strike. Yankees have dropped 4 out of 5. 2 out of 3 to Toronto. Last game of the series in Detroit. So the Tigers have now defeated them 2 straight games, and We mentioned a fact during game one that doubleheaders are rare, but the last 5 doubleheaders these two teams have played, all in the 90s, have all been swept. Right at Soho. He'll have time. He knocks it down and gets the speedy Brian Hunter by a stride. So Iramu has shut out the Tigers through the first 3. Yankees still looking for their first run in 18 innings. Good inning for Luis Soho. Back on MSG after this.
Let's crunch some numbers on America's best-selling minivan.
Good crowd at one time, thinning out a little bit after 11 o'clock here at the stadium. Yankee baseball brought to you in part by the new Dodge. See your local Dodge dealer. He's fresh, Joe Girardi. Clean uniform and all. Didn't see any action in game one. First pitch swinging foul at the plate.
Talking about Joe Torre and the hit and run in the first game. A recent road trip putting a hit and run on with Girardi at the plate. In fact, he came through 2 times in a row. One of them was a home run that won the game. Look out, Joe.
Up and in. Yeah, that was the game down in Tampa Bay. Homer Bush 1 for 1 with a leadoff double. Waits on deck. Foul at the plate. In that game, Kenny, you're talking about the hit and run and the run production. Talking with Don Zimmer before the game tonight, he said in those games in Tampa Bay, the Yankees swept that series. And Zim said, except for a hit here or a hit there, that's how close it. Tampa Bay could easily have won 3 out of 4. It was the Yankees starting pitching that was responsible for the sweep. Hey, Joe Girardi, yeah, he could pull the ball. He had all that rest, so he pulls a single into left field to start the Yankee third.
Third inning in a row, the Yankees have had the leadoff man on 2 hits and a walk, but slider kind of left hanging on the inner half of the plate. Joe jerks it into left field for the base hit.
See how Joe Torre decides to play it, seeing his team now go into their 18th inning since they have scored a run. If he tries to manufacture one just to get a point on the board.
Say 18 innings.
Let's see, they scored in the 3rd, so that's the last
15.
Because actually they had a man on 2nd and nobody out in the 3rd inning and still didn't score. 2 more here. He does bunt Bush, and it's perfectly executed. And in fact, Tony Clark had to hustle to get that throw to Damian Easley. So good job by Homer Bush. And he got the bat out in front of him and bunted the way you're taught.
Watch him square around here. Gets that bat out in front, flexes the knees, and gets the ball down. Well done.
Yeah, see, that bat is in fair territory when the ball hits the bat.
And he kind of catches it on the end of the bat, lays the bunt down. Then the pressure's on because it's a sacrifice, except for Homer Bush's running. He might be able to scoot out a base hit.
So a nice night already by Homer Bush. A leadoff double, a sacrifice, and now Jeter, with Girardi in scoring position, steps up for the 2nd time. Boy, Fleury threw him some crisp pitches in his first at bat and struck Derek out on, I think, 4 pitches. On the handle, sliced down the right field line. That'll find the seats in foul territory. Evens the count at 1.
Nice catch. Didn't even drop the cup. Still got the cup. Yeah,
well, that's concentration. And economical. Yeah.
Nice play. And can enjoy a cooling drink.
Still got his soda pop in hand.
Look at the cap on the kid next to the Brooklyn Dodger hat.
Good fastball in the outside corner, 1-2.
Look,
that's an old style Dodger cap.
Kid's not old enough to remember the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah, but his dad probably is.
Yeah, see, that's how you did it, Dad. It kind of hurts a little.
Again, Jeter I think maybe by design, just trying to hit the ball the other way. A lot of pitches inside on Derek's hands. He fouls that in the seats to stay alive. Still 1-2.
You notice a lot of hitters when they take their practice swings, how they come down like a chopping move. That's because you want to keep your hands above the ball. And they're trying to practice that in their practice swings. Although sometimes their swings at the actual pitch might be different because the ball's in a different location, might be down.
Outside, 2-2.
You'll see Tino Martinez do that quite often. Paul O'Neill does the very same thing. They want to keep their hands above the baseball. Look down.
Way inside. As Flory tries to run that down and in. And now the count is run full.
Looked like a case of dance fever broke out.
Denny DeTerrio.
That show just went off the air this week, didn't it?
Right field, and the Yankees are going to get on the board. Good and bad by Jeter. And Joe Girardi scores the first Yankee run since the 3rd inning of Game 1. And the Yankees take a 1-0 lead.
Well, the fans have been waiting a while to let loose. Buddy Bell's gone to the glasses this game. A little eye strain in the first, all those zeros on the board. Jeter determined to hit the ball hard to right field. He did it several foul balls and kept this one fair. Higginson loses his footing, but not the baseball.
O'Neill whips this to center, but Hunter's right there. Hit well.
Ooh. Those are the toughest plays for an outfielder. A line drive directly at you because the depth perception, you can't really turn your body. You have to make the play. That's why you see Hunter move in a few steps, then go back, judges it correctly, and makes the catch. You see more outfielders look silly on line drives directly at them than just about any other play, other than the ball in the sun.
So a couple of pretty good at-bats now by Jeter and O'Neill. I tell you, Strawberry in the first pitch in his last at-bat had some swing. Let's see what Darrell does against Flory in this at-bat. Outside corner. I think a lot of times in the National League, teams said you've got to get the ball in on Darrell and not let him extend those arms. But the Tigers play him toward left center and they pitch him away. Now they're coming in. Wow, paints the inside corner.
And there's Hunter out in center. You see second base, and if you have a direct line towards that 408 side, he is to the left of that. Or he is actually to the right of it, but to the left, camera left.
Just off the edge.
And I think with Flory, and the reason why he keeps the ball away, he has good movement on that fastball away. Now, if he misses inside and the ball tails over the middle of the plate, that's when he can get in trouble. So maybe that's why the Flory, at least, is trying to keep that fastball away from Darrell.
Off-speed pitch outside. 2 quick strikes with perfect pitches. Now the count is 2-2.
Now let's see how that off-speed pitch sets up the next pitch.
Just a bit low.
And you see what I mean? That pitch was more in the middle of the plate, but he had set up inside, so it tailed back towards the middle. I think it's a good thing it was a ball.
Interesting how pitchers like Flory and who have not had a lot of success, they will challenge and get to 2 strikes, and then it's like they're going to trick a hitter to put him away. He was 0-2, now it's 3-2, and he lost it. So Strawberry draws a 2-out walk. And again, with the bullpen being used in that 17-inning first game, important for the Tigers to get a lot of innings out of Flory.
And he has yet to have a 1-2-3 inning, so he's using up some valuable pitches. Arabu's had 2 1-2-3 innings, and in the second inning he only faced 4 men, so you can imagine his pitch total is down considerably compared to Flory.
And again, Flory starts a Yankee hitter out with a strike. That slider to Raines on the inside corner. Jeter got the RBI, and Strawberry drew the 2-out walk. They're on the bases with 2 down here in the third. If you joined us late, it is late. Game 1 went 17 innings, 5 hours and 50 minutes. Inside corner again. Now the tricks come out of the bag and try to make Tim Raines chase something. I don't know how many current pitchers listen or read the comments of Greg Maddux, how he talks about getting a hitter out on 0-2. It's the best pitch to get a hitter out on because they're in a defensive mode like that. And oftentimes, instead of nibbling on 0-2, if you go right after a hitter on 0-2 with good stuff, I think you get a high percentage of them out.
Yeah, before you know it, it's 2-2, and the pendulum has kind of swung back a little bit towards the hitter as far as the advantage. The pitcher always has the advantage because he knows what he's going to throw and knows approximately where he wants to put it.
And in Tim Raines' case right now, you're in a protective mode, just protecting that plate. Not going to have as aggressive a swing. Like that, fouls it out of play. News out of St. Louis, Mark McGwire has gone deep, 43. Could have a couple of guys breaking that 61 barrier. Sammy Sosa in the lopsided Cub win over the Braves did not hit a home run tonight.
Yeah, he could have 50 before beginning of August.
Yeah. And on the hands, dribble toward Clark. See, there's the advantage of throwing an 0-2 pitch in the strike zone. Raines taps it to Tony Clark. Joe Girardi got a base hit. Derek Jeter drove him in, and the Yankees, after 16 scoreless innings, are on the board. Suzyn Waldman joins Kenny after this. 1-0 Yankees.
Well, to the top half of the 4th inning, Ken Singleton now joined by Suzyn Waldman. As Hideki Arabu's first pitch to Damon Easley is up high, ball 1. Well, Suzyn, long time no see.
No. You know, downstairs, Joe Torre said, I said, who's available in the bullpen? And he said, well, Hideki's getting the ball, and he knows that because I'm not coming to get him.
Pitch to Easley, misses 2 balls and no strikes. Well, been a while since the Yankees were able to score a run. They finally punched one across last inning. And this isn't something, this has kind of been, lately they had trouble picking up big hits at the right time.
You know, a few weeks ago, would you have believed it that the New York Yankees would not score a run in 16 innings?
Ball hit hard to center field. Chad Curtis going back and corrals it for out number 1.
One of the things with games like that, though, if you look at what was going on in the Detroit dugout during those final innings, very important to a young team to be able to play with the big boys, as one of the guys in the Tigers dugout had said, to be able to play with this team and actually beat them after that. So I think it was more important to them in a way.
You know, as we look at Jose Cardinal, still not 100% after being hit by that ball the other day in Toronto. The Tigers playing the Yankees, then the Red Sox, and now the Yankees again. And I believe they get Cleveland pretty soon.
And played very well against them.
Ball is popped up in the short left field. Jeter going back, called off by Raines, and the ball falls in. The throw to second, not in time to get the hustling Higginson. And that will go as a double.
And that's a play that Derek Jeter makes all the time, and it looked like, as you said, Kenny, that Raines just called him off. Jeter had that ball all the way. He's made that catch 100 times.
Well, maybe a little fatigue showing on the face of Derek Jeter. He goes back, he looks to Raines, and the ball falls in. Miscommunication between the two. Jeter looking in Raines' direction, and Raines looking at Jeter. So Higginson is the beneficiary as he picks up a double. He's at second with 1 man out, and Tony Clark will come to the plate. Curveball hangs high for ball one. Now, Susan, we could take it back to the Detroit series. Remember that it's a 2-game series. The Yankees won the opening game behind Urabu and their home run hitting by a score of 11-0. But the Tigers bounced back the next night and beat David Cohn. So there's some enthusiasm for that young club.
Sure, and that was Brian Moeller, who has now beaten the Yankees twice, and that was a very good game for the Tigers. They played very well against the Red Sox when the Red Sox came in over the weekend. They've played very well after the break, and you talk to the Tigers, they think maybe they see a light at the end of this tunnel.
Kitty mentioned they had won 12 of their last 17 games. Upstairs, 3 balls and no strikes on Tony Clark as Urabu falls behind with the base open. On deck is Luis Gonzalez. I bet you Luis is happy to get on the road, get some sleep after his wife gave birth to triplets. There's ball 4. That is the first walk allowed by Urabu tonight. And the Tigers have 2 on with 1 down.
And talking to Urabu during the week, Kenny, he was working his between starts on getting that arm up and over because Joe Torre said maybe he thought he was looking at Hernandez too much and David Cohn and trying to come to sidearm, and that left the ball totally flat.
Well, the last start against the Tigers, very impressive, particularly with the splitter after he got 2 strikes. He also had a good fastball and location. Gonzalez flied out to right field his first time. Yankees up 1-0. And that misses low and inside for ball 1. 2 on and 1 out.
And as many pitchers are, obviously much more effective when he gets that first pitch strike, but it's very important for him because his breaking pitches fall so far out of the zone.
Three looks at the runner, and then Hideki steps off. Look at third base coach Perry Hill, and he's in charge of watching the runner at second, Higginson, to make sure that nobody sneaks in behind him, namely Derek Jeter or Homer Bush. Jeter will feint him back. Gonzalez taking all the way, and the count will level off at a ball and a strike. You can imagine the mood in both locker rooms after the game, and I wonder if you're going to be in there after the game to talk to some people. They're not going to be too chipper.
They'll be out of there by the time anybody gets down there. I don't blame them.
Win or lose.
Win or lose. Very long road trip, long ride home. Actually, not too late last night, but this is not what you want.
Today we had deliveries. Today we had food, ice cream, beer deliveries.
Hideki, primarily a fly ball pitcher, but would like to get a ground ball out here somewhere. And there is a pop-up in the short center field. Going back is Jeter. This one he's going to take, and he puts it away for out number 2. I know he's only 23 years old, 24 now, isn't he? 23, 24. But still, this is a long night, no matter how old.
It's a long night for anybody. And what you liked right there was Urabu with that fastball right down the middle of the plate, and he missed it, popped it up, and that's what you like to see. So that means he's spotting it enough, and the velocity is back as Derek Jeter camps under that one.
2 down, 2 on for Trey Beeman, who draws the role of designated hitter for the Tigers in this second game. Urabu has struck out 2, including Beeman in the second inning. Slow curve dropped over nicely for a strike. That was the pitch, Susan, he was throwing quite effectively in Detroit. Beeman fouls it back. Do you remember Cecil Cooper?
Oh, sure, of course.
Then he kind of reminds me of Cecil Cooper with the way he actually sets up at the plate.
Right. Oh, yes.
Except maybe Cecil was a little bit lower, and his average was a little bit higher. Although Beeman's hitting .444, he's had 18 at bats this year with 8 hits.
Well, he just came back up from AAA.
Exactly.
They'll give him a chance.
If he can sustain it like Cecil could, he'll be all right. Look at that setup.
Yep.
0-2 pitch. Swung on it, missed, strike 3. Hideki picks up his 3rd strikeout. Second time he's gotten Beeman. And he strands a couple of runners here at the top of the 4th. We played 3.5 at the stadium. Yankees lead this second game 1-0. Well, Derek Jeter relaxing in the dugout for the Yankees as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's Joe Torre talking to
Jeter,
Derek.
yeah.
Joe does not miss a trick with this club. I mean, as soon as the people come in, or the players come in, after miscues in the field, plays that should have been made, Joe will walk down the length of the bench, wherever they are, find them, and tell them what your responsibilities are. Responsibility for Chad Curtis to get on here in the bottom of the 4th, and he does with a single in center field. The Yankees now with 4 hits off of Bryce Flory.
And it seems whatever funk Chad Curtis was in before that contract was signed, he seems to be out of it.
6 million reasons to come out of it.
Well,
Dale Swain will come to the plate. 4th inning in a row against Bryce Flory. The Yankees have had the leadoff man on. They scored last inning to take the 1-0 lead. Here is Dale Swain as Tito Martinez gets at least part of the second game off.
one of the things we were discussing before, and I noticed it on the road trip, and I wonder if you, being away from the team a little while, had noticed that the approach seems a little different. There's a lot less patience, Ken, and a lot more hacking up there.
I mentioned in the first game that Knobloch had gone 12 games without drawing a walk, and that's the second longest streak in his career without drawing a walk. And Jeter has gone a while without walking. And those two guys are the ones that set the table. And I know they're both very good hitters. But I think Knobloch, what has happened to him is he has found his stroke.
And wants to make sure he keeps it. So
Yep.
he's doing it.
But the fact is you can only get one hit every at-bat. You can't get 10 hits in one at-bat.
Well, the thing that I've noticed, Ken, and I wonder, and maybe it just changes as the season goes on, this used to be an incredibly patient team.
The runner is going, bouncing ball towards the middle, and it avoids Curtis off the glove of Easley, and Curtis is going to go to third base. And that's going to go as an error on the second baseman.
And Damien's going to get an error on that, but Chad Curtis set that up all the way. Look, he's actually going to stop really right almost in front of Damien Easley. You see the arms go up, and I think, Kenny, he just blocked him right there. He didn't know where the ball was going to be, and he's almost protecting himself, and puts that left, look at the left elbow, goes up. See, Curtis's arms are going up. He's putting that arm, trying to backhand it, and it goes into center field.
Easley might have been shielded a bit. It looked like he was caught on that big in-between hop. And the ball glanced off his glove. And the Yankees have runners at first and third. Luis Sojo will come to the plate. Hits it hard into left field. It's a base hit. The Yankees have taken a 2-0 lead as Curtis will come around to score. So Luis Sojo makes a contribution with an RBI single here in the bottom of the fourth.
So the two men that did not play in that first game, Luis Sojo and Joe Girardi, contributing here in this second game. All right, there's that hit by Sojo, just right off the end of the bat, in between the third baseman and the shortstop into left field. Good piece of hitting right there, and that was Damien Easley's 5th error and the Tigers' 61st on the year.
They're pretty good defensive ball club, Detroit. Yeah, I mentioned in the first game, when the infield is set at double play depth, the hole between the shortstop and third baseman, and the second baseman and the first baseman actually is much wider than it normally would be. The runners are going. Girardi swings and fouls it off. The hit and run put on. Now
this Yankee team is starting to get aggressive. You see smiles on that bench that we haven't seen in a couple of days.
Joe Torre trying to make something happen. It's going to be a long evening. Day and evening for the Yankees here at Yankee Stadium. Same for the Tigers, but the Yankees are the ones that are trying to fight for the split now. After the Tigers took the first game 4-3 in 17 innings. This game will start and then end on another day.
And no curfew.
Pitch out. Girardi had squared it around the bunt, but the count is even up at a ball with a strike. Joe had a base hit to lead off the third inning and scored the Yankee run. Bush sacrificed, and then Jeter singled, and that gave the Yankees the 1-0 lead in the third. They have stretched it to 2-0. Girardi lays down a bunt. It's a good one. Randa's only play will be to first base. The sacrifice is successful. One thing we're seeing from Joe Torre here, the Yankees playing little ball in 2 successive innings, trying to put runs on the board.
I was just going to say that, and this is a beautiful. Joe Girardi is so good at this, Kenny. I mean, there's nobody better on this team. He really is terrific at putting down this sacrifice bunt, and it's a very good one. Randa has 1 play, and Girardi getting down as quickly as possible. But Bernie Williams, talking of the first day he came back, he said that Joe Torre had told him to think little ball. Don't come back and start swinging for the fences immediately. And maybe this team got away from that a little bit.
Ground ball by Bush to Easley. He holds the runner at third and will throw Bush out. The Tigers had the infield about halfway. That ball almost directly to Easley. So Swaim had to hold at third base.
Because I think one of the things you're seeing, I think this is what you were referring to, they were swinging from their heels a lot because people weren't getting it done, and this team won a World Series by playing little ball. And I know how everybody felt when they were writing Bernie Williams' name in the lineup. What do you think Joe felt like?
Well, Bernie's getting the second game off after playing all 17 innings in center field in the first game, so that's a good sign. You have to see how he reacts tomorrow.
He says he's fine.
Pitch to Jeter's outside for a ball. Still wearing that brace, though, for precautionary reasons. And when he gets rid of that, then you know he's truly back to 100%. Runners at second and third with 2 outs. Backup slider drops over the inside corner. Ball and a strike. Jeter had the RBI single in the third, struck out in the first. On deck is Paul O'Neill. I don't think there's a day that goes by here at Yankee Stadium we don't see at least one of those signs.
Or in any city. You don't have to be at Yankee Stadium.
Well, that's true. Jeter fouls one back, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Those are all all-star votes for Derek Jeter.
Punched out very neatly.
Neatly with a heart next to it.
With a little heart, with a little face.
Bernie, Derek, Paul. Bernie, Derek, Tino, and Paul.
Bring us a World Series this fall.
Breaking ball, fouls it into the Tiger dugout, in and out. Derek hangs tough with the count at 1-2. They'll Swaim over at third. Luis Sojo down at second. Jeter picked up RBI. And now has 46 on the year. High fastball fouled back off of Paul Bacco. Now with Casanova, I think the Tigers are going to have to see how he reacts to that pulled hamstring, because Bacco's going to have to play again tomorrow. And the Tigers might be dipping into their farm system if Casanova is so severely injured that he can't continue. They just cut
Joe Oliver.
Yeah.
Well, both of them very young, both Casanova and Bacco, both just 23 years old. So if there's somebody left down in that farm system, he's younger than that.
Jeter with a roller to third. Joe Randa bobbles, recovers, throws, not in time. Another run is scored. It's 3-0 Yankees. That split second that Randa bobbled the ball, and the hustle pays off.
And you don't see that a lot. Now Randa playing second base in the first game, back to his normal third base. That's something you don't see out of Randa. He is a very good third baseman, but the extra hustle from Derek Jeter, he gets down that line.
Wasn't even close at first.
Look at that. He never does that. And Jeter with that extra hustle, as we said, down that line. No, not even close.
Never say never. I haven't seen an error put on the board yet. They're going to give Jeter a base hit.
Okay.
Give him another run batted in on the sheer hustle. Sojo moves to third. Jeter's at first. And Paul O'Neill will step in. And he fouls the first pitch off over the Tigers dugout and back into the seat. Strike one.
So the other thing that happens is that when runners are moving all the time, if the infielder takes their eye off it, the focus is, instead of everybody just standing there, the focus is taken away from that. And maybe Soho had something to do with that, of Rander just taking his eye off the ball just for a split second. That's all it takes.
Well, we saw it happen easily earlier this inning. First and third, 2 outs. Pitch to O'Neill again. Valve off to the left, 0-2.
See, this is how the Yankees have played for the last 3 years. Joe Torre always says that it's pitching and you play little ball. Guys are always going to hit home runs. But if everyone's up swinging for the fences, it never works.
Well, there have been a lot of teams in history that have hit a lot of home runs. You look at the Seattle Mariners and what they're leading the world in homers. They've been in last place most of it because they can't pitch. 0-2 pitch, hit hard, back through the middle. It's a base hit. Soho will score. It's 4-0 Yankees. O'Neill hit a rocket right through the legs of Bryce Flory.
And Flory went down in a very strange position there. He's coming off a back injury. You're going to have to see how he comes out of that and how long he's going to stay. But this is, O'Neill just gets a piece of it. It's a rocket shot. And Flory actually takes a spill down, goes into center field. And they're going to come out and talk to him and see how he is. And that's exactly what. This is a guy coming off a back injury, and he hits the ground hard right there. Mad at himself for missing that.
Hockey terms, that's right through the 5-hole, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Through the 5-hole?
That's
okay.
Between the goaltender's legs for a goal.
I'm just, thank you.
Now 2 on for Darryl Strawberry. The Yankees have opened it up a bit here in the 4th inning by scoring 3 times and now lead a score of 4-0. There's Jeter down at second, O'Neill at first. And Darryl Strawberry to the plate, who has struck out and walked thus far. And it's outside for ball 1.
A lot of talk of just putting Darryl on the DL while the team was away, and that talk has stopped. No, Darryl playing with no pain, just a little weakness in his knee. So what they're going to try and do is give him a day off here and there, a couple of days in a row maybe.
Up high, ball 2, and maybe rehabbing right here at Yankee Stadium and get him in game shape.
Well, I think those 4 games on turf and you know, playing in Tampa, that does a job on you. But now that Bernie is back in center and you put Curtis in left.
Wild pitch by Baco. The runners will move up. Jeter goes to third, and O'Neill trots down to second. Things are happening for the Yankees here and against the Tiger fortunes here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Breaking ball, and that was about a 57-footer. It actually bounced on the turf right in front of the plate.
Not much you can do. I mean, it's all in Bryce Flory's hands. Strawberry up there with a 3-0 count. And that's ball 4. The bases will be loaded with 2 outs for Tim Raines. And the Yankees have batted around here in the 4th inning.
And Buddy Bell has a pretty thin bullpen also, but just about everybody pitched. But remember, this is a guy coming off a back injury. And I think they had hoped to at least get him through 5.
Nobody warming up as of yet as Raines steps in. Timmy's walked and grounded to first. Swings at the first pitch, rolls it foul down the first base side. This is the 21st time the Yankees have batted around. You see the bases loaded. Jeter, O'Neill returning to second, and Strawberry to first. The last time they batted around was against the Tigers on the 15th in the 8th inning at Tiger Stadium. 21 times this year. At least 9 men to the plate in an inning. Bases loaded for Tim Raines with 2 down. Outside for a ball. It was Raines who hit a grand slam in Toronto in the game that the Yankees won against the Jays. He's afraid to look. That glove is big enough for him to sleep in on the way home. Pitch to Raines, had a good cut and fouls it back, 1-2.
That grand slam, by the way, Ken, was probably the most satisfying home run of Raines' career, I would imagine, after being hit. And then that's the way to answer it. Just hit a grand slam like that. That was the slowest trot he said he'd ever he'd ever had.
And first ever grand slam by a Yankee at Skydome.
He enjoyed that one. Stood and watched it. He never does that. Stood and watched it. Slow trot.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think this Yankee team has just about had it with being hit by other people's pitchers.
Well, Roger Clemens hit Jeter. That kind of escalated things up at Skydome. 2-2 pitch. Raines with a ground ball foul outside of first. Tony Clark. Oh, look at the scramble. Kid had it, let it get away.
Now, there is a fine line between brushing someone back, and Clemens has always pitched up and under the chin. But when Raines got hit, he was hit. I mean, he was thrown at.
Well, throughout that game, Clemens was moving people off the plate, and I can understand that. That's the way he pitches. He's very effective that way because he knows how to do it.
And it gets batters off. I would imagine you would be a lot less comfortable if you know that you're not going to dig your heels in there if Roger's throwing up at your neck.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Fleury steps off. The Yankees have scored 3 times. There's been a Tiger error, a wild pitch, a walk, and 3 Yankee hits in this inning. Toss in a sacrifice as well. Pitch to Raines, and he lifts it in the air to left field. Gonzalez started in, now going back towards the warning track and hauls it in. Yankees bat around here in the 4th inning. They leave 3, but they score 3. We've played 4. And at the end of 4, the Yankees lead it 4-0.
Late at Yankee Stadium, New York Yankee baseball brought to you in part by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express can help you do more. Jim Kaat along with Suzyn Waldman. I don't know if we can do any more tonight. 17 innings, and now halfway through this one is Hideki Irabu. And he's pitching, Suzyn, like he is aware that the bullpen wants to just sit this game. Kind of like El Duque, who will pitch on Wednesday when he's sit in Cuba. There's no relief pitching. Just give me the ball for the entire time. Homer Bush gets to his feet, and wow, didn't have a lot on that throw, but he did make the throw in time.
Nice play by Homer Bush. This is going to be a tough job for him. Comes off the bench. He plays once every 2 weeks. Stops that. That was a bullet. Makes that little flip throw that Swaim, if he's a little shorter, maybe doesn't make that play. It's a good play by Bush. Falls down but gets up. Does have time to set, but a little sidearm throw that Swaim can handle. So I was saying, got to be a little difficult for this kid. Wants to make an impression. Knows he's on the block. 8 teams have called about him. You know, at the point in his career where he wants to play. But every time he does play, something seems to happen.
Yeah, he's and when you see him play, you can tell that given an opportunity, there's some ability there. Speed. Hideki Irabu now a little breather, a retie the shoes. The first pitch to Baco was low for a ball.
I had said to Joe between games, how do you approach Hideki Irabu? And he said, well, he knows that he's got to throw the ball because I'm not coming to get him.
That's right. 2-0. Before the DH, the teammates would usually go around and say, shut him out and hit one out. Well, he's got that kind of stamina, and he could certainly go to the 9th inning. Check swing by Baco, fouled out of plate.
Now, do you see the difference in Irabu trying to get more on top? Because Torrey had thought that maybe he was watching Hernandez and Cone with the little drop downs a little, and so the ball was staying flat and he wasn't getting it where he wanted to, which made him go behind. I
noticed particularly the pitches to Beeman, and like that right there, he was over the top to the left-hand hitters, getting the ball on the inside corner. That pitch misses, and the count is now 3-1. There it is, but just off the edge, and Bacco draws a 1-out walk. The official scorer of the game is brought to you by NAM, National Arbitration and Mediation, most timely, cost-effective way to settle your legal disputes. And one dispute has been changed. Derek Jeter, who it did appear was credited with a very charitable decision, that has been changed. It scored an error on Joe Randa, and that will make the runs unearned. Bacco on the run. Girardi's throw is just a bit off target, and Bacco in with a stolen base. Most of the teams around the league know Arabu a little slow in delivering the ball to home plate.
And he's got a very good jump on this one. Girardi really doesn't have a shot, but the throw is a little low and off to the right. He's got a real good jump already. Jeter tries to get over, but a little off to Jeter's right.
That's on the edge for a strike to Davy Cruz.
So that's the pitch that they were talking about, when it doesn't stay flat like that. That was perfect on the outside part of the plate.
Yeah, just a little difference in the arm angle. Pretty good chance that curveball misses by a lot. Pretty good chance you're going to get Davy Cruz to hit the ball. You really have to be wild to walk him. He's walked 9 times all year.
He's a little under the weather. He's not feeling very well, so maybe he's not very strong.
Might want to swing early.
That's right.
Get out of Dodge. Sharply, and Homer Bush, I don't know why, but was moving toward first base. Now Curtis bobbles it momentarily. Bacco scores, and I don't know if that ball fooled Homer Bush, but he broke toward first base, and the ball went toward right center field. Would have been a routine ground ball out.
You could actually see him stop for a second. Now watch, the ball is going to come off the bat of Cruz, and he's set up outside, so it's going over there, and we don't see it, but Homer actually moved for a second towards first base, and then Curtis bobbles it.
No advance on the Curtis bobble, so there'll be no error on the play, but just a bit of a misjudgment by Homer Bush. The Tigers are on the board. It's 4-1. Jerry White, the first base coach, with some base running instructions to Davy Cruz. They were waiting for a balk call. You heard that from the dugout microphone, and it did appear that Arabu broke that back leg and then spun and threw to first base. I think the Detroit dugout hollered balk. Now see the back knee. That back knee broke ever so slightly, but technically that is a balk. Was not called. Hit well, center field. Curtis on the run. He's going to run it down. Out number 2 as Cruz retreats to first base. Well, the Yankees are going to sleep good tonight. They in the field.
Wow.
Curtis and Jeter, they have made some remarkable plays.
This is quite a shot by Hunter. The ball stays over the middle of the plate. Curtis got a great jump, and we have seen all year, Kitty, this guy is worth his weight in gold. He can play anywhere out there and play it very, very well. Had it all the way.
Rewarded, of course, recently by the contract extension, so he will be playing somewhere for the Yankees for the next several seasons. Here's Damian Easley, the all-star second baseman. Curveball misses for a ball.
Damian telling me before the game, you'd grow up and dream of being a major leaguer, but then named to the all-star team. He said it's beyond belief.
Especially for a guy who was a top prospect with the Angels, and it sort of looked like time had passed him by. He wasn't going to get another chance to play second. The Angels had high hopes for him. Pretty good company right there. One of 2 Tigers second basemen, back-to-back 20 home run seasons. Lou Whitaker did it 4 years in a row, but 85 through 89. Way outside.
And you remember when he was with Anaheim, you never heard talk about how he could hit for power. Never.
No. Well, you get a chance to play every day and get a little confidence. Here's the block by Girardi. Agile behind the plate.
And he doesn't let many of those go by.
Good fastball, 2-1 to Easley.
What does that do for a pitcher when a catcher is behind the plate that you know isn't going to let a ball go by like that?
Gives you confidence, particularly with a man on third base. That's where it can become a problem. You got a man on third in a close game and you want to throw a curveball. You have to have confidence that a catcher like Girardi is going to block it, keep it in front of him. Ooh, that one got away and sent Easley to the turf, and the count is 3-1. Things getting a little sticky now for the Yankees because another ball and Bobby Higginson comes to the plate, and he would represent the tying run.
That really crossed up Girardi. He sets up on the outside part of the plate, and that goes inside. It doesn't look like Girardi was expecting that at all. Robert just lost track of it there.
Just got away a little early, released it a little early, and the ball flew up and in. So a couple of big pitches here for Arabu. He would prefer to have Higginson lead off the 6th inning, but he's going to come to the plate. As sharp as Hideki was in the early innings, now his scatter zone's getting a little wider. He missed the strike zone by a lot. Looks like he's having trouble with his shoes. Either they don't fit right, he's had to retie them a couple of times. After the Yankees score 3, the Tigers come back with 1. And they threaten to get closer here as they now have the tying run to the plate. And Bobby Higginson. Pulled foul for strike 1. Well, a lot of talk about the Yankees being in a bit of a slide. They've lost 4 out of 5, but I could spend from now till probably the 9th inning telling the categories that they are still the best in baseball, starting with the starters earned run average, particularly in the American League. They're the only staff with an earned run average under 4. That misses. They got the best overall ERA in the league and the best winning percentage. Scored the most runs. They got by far the best plus-minus ratio. They've outscored the opposition by 182. Cleveland's next, just over 100. That misses, 2-1.
Now, interestingly enough, what do you see on this delivery? Because everything seems to be staying high.
Yeah, there's not much. It's you know, if he is just a little bit flat, and a bit of a puzzled look on the face of Joe Torre. Sometimes when you don't get on top of the ball enough, you try to tell yourself to throw it right past your ear. Got on top of that one. The actual difference between that fastball being in the strike zone and one maybe being a little inside or outside is a release point of maybe an inch or 2. You know, the arm falling down a little bit toward third base, and that can make it do one of 2 things: go a little bit outside to a left-hand hitter, or just a touch inside. A long inning here, starting with the bottom of the 4th. The Yankees batted for quite a while against Florida and scored 3. Fouled at the plate. Haven't seen that good split finger since early in the ball game, where he got 2 strikes. And let's see if we can see the arm angle now of Arabu from the overhead shot. And see right about there. I see the difference between the ball being a strike and maybe being inside or outside is that much. He appears to be right over the top with that one. Another good pitch in on the hands. Tigers can send 3 real quality hitters in a row at you, and when you sit down before the ball game as a pitcher and go over the lineup card, these are the 3 guys you have to do damage control against: Easley, Higginson, and Clark.
About 60 homers among the 3 of them.
Yeah, if you give up a home run to one of them or 2 of them with solo jobs, but you have to keep men off the bases. Rip, but just foul. Think of Temple University as Bill Cosby's alumni, Bill Cosby's school, and a lot of basketball history there. Not much baseball. There's only a couple of big leaguers. Jeff Manto, remember Jeff Manto?
Sure do.
He's a Temple product, and that's where Bobby Higginson is from. Longtime Phillies fan as a kid. So the 8th pitch to Higginson is pulled foul, and it seems that he is ready. Maybe reading the bat, when pitchers and pitching coaches sit down and talk about reading the bat, right now he's been out in front of everything. And as a pitcher, that tells me one thing: if you throw him something slower than you've thrown right now, chances are you're going to have him way out in front. He's ready for anything, so he'd be very vulnerable to any off-speed pitch. Well, they tried it, and he was able to check in time, and the count's gone full.
Just inside. See Girardi setting up outside, and the curve goes inside and just misses. Pretty good pitch.
But just a little low and inside. Cruz and Easley will get a head start now. Full count, 2 outs. Got him. There was the splitter. Big strikeout by Hideki Irabu. A little damage control here in inning number 5. The Tigers get on the board. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Yankees lead it by 3. Midnight in the city. Good morning, everyone. It's 10 after 12, early morning on Tuesday. And a reminder, New York Yankee baseball brought to you in part by National Car Rentals. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. Curtis. Flores not. Yes, he is going to get him. Nice play. Boy, he got off there in a hurry.
It's a good pickup by Fleury, because Curtis was really barreling down that line. He actually, Kitty, had time to stop and actually set right there as he came off the mound. Curtis pulls that. Look at Fleury get off that mound, actually stops and sets and fires a bullet over to Tony Clark.
Yeah, and another look at it. Watch Fleury's footwork to start with. Fast, 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 and then you slow down when you get the ball. See, if you get a good jump off the mound, 2 or 3 long, quick strides, then when you get to the ball, you can slow down, gather yourself, and that's what Fleury was able to do and make a nice play. 1 down. Here's Swain. Outside. Fleury's pitch count now, Bryce Fleury, is nearing 90, and we're just in the 5th inning, but Buddy Bell might just say, you got to go a few more innings for me, the way they've used the bullpen.
How much did you work on footwork and coming off the mound, you with the double-digit?
Well, I started working on it when I was about 8 years old.
No, I understand that. Did you keep doing it as you're? All
the time, every day I could, from my days of following Bobby Shantz, who was probably the greatest fielding pitcher in the history of the game. He was a hero of mine. Didn't have a lot of television then. You saw pictures of how he finished, and then I would hear descriptions over the radio of what he did, and that's you just work on it. Fouled out of play, and it's still 2-2. But then I got some good tips from Eddie Lopat, who was the ex-Yankee, the late great left-hander of the Yankees, who taught me a lot about what Fleury just did. The first few steps off the mound are the key. Long, quick strides, get to the ball, and then you can slow down and get your footwork together when you approach the ball. Got him. Swain down on strikes, and that's the 2nd out of the Yankee 5th. Yeah, deep breath. Bryce Fleury might have to just suck it up and go about 7 or 8 innings. We'll go back to the play, and you'll see the long, quick strides of Flory right there. They shorten up, gets to the ball, his body's on balance, and a nice play.
Now, is that play actually easier for a right-hander to go to, or the left-hander going off the mound?
I think it's equal. Lefty. The key again is getting your body in position. As a lefty, you'd kind of circle that ball. Soho takes the breaking ball, and it's 2-0. Luis got a key base hit in the 4th inning. In the air to center. Looks like Flory's going to have a effective 5th inning after giving up 3 in the 4th. 5 in the books here at the stadium after the 17-inning first game. We've played 5 and the Yankees lead it 4-1. Ken Singleton back after this.
That's my dad.
If those that are left have been here from the start, they've seen a lot of baseball. We head to the top of the 6th. The Yankees lead it by 4-1, and we invite you to join the excitement when the Yankees take on the Chicago White Sox. 3-game series starting Friday, July 24th at 7:30. Then the popular Old Timers Day is the 25th as former Yankee greats play host to the LA Dodgers Old Timers from back in the era of the 70s. Yankees will also unveil a Mel Allen plaque in Monument Park during the pregame ceremonies. Festivities begin at 2 o'clock. Tickets available at the stadium through Ticketmaster, the clubhouse stores, and on the web. www.yankees.com. Hey, they want to get in that taxi ad. Yanks are.
Yanks rock.
Oh, Yanks rock. Yeah.
And the exclamation point on the end.
Uh-huh.
Give me that.
They got to have a limousine for them to do the commercial like the guys do with the Yanks.
Well, Rabu made a nice pitch to finish off Bobby Higginson in the 5th inning. Now he's got to deal with Tony Clark leading it off in the 6th for the Tigers. He's been unable to retire Tony thus far. He has singled and walked. There's that off-speed curveball. It's become very effective for Hideki Irabu for the strike.
Yeah, not many pitchers throw it anymore, do they? And so when they do see it, it's such a surprise. It's such an effective pitch. It doesn't have to be in the strike zone, just close to it.
Well, he tried to double up on it. That one certainly wasn't in the strike zone, and the count evens at a ball and a strike on Clark. What a personable young man.
Oh,
yeah.
You can talk about a lot of the ugly in the game and the stuff that needs help. But when you get a chance, as we have in the last month, to meet, say, Scott Rowland and Doug Glanville from the Phillies and guys like Tony Clark. Of course, the Yankees have solid citizens of their own like Derek Jeter. There are some really classy young men in this game.
Pitch is lifted in the air to straightaway center field. And Chad Curtis ambles underneath it, makes the catch, and there's one down. And that'll bring up Luis Gonzalez. There's Boomer. Just missed by 1 hitter, picking up a win. Boomer looks wide awake. Must have got a nap.
Well, I see he probably got to come home early, get a little extra sleep after the road trip. Maybe he left Toronto a day early.
Luis Gonzalez taking the first pitch all the way, and it's in for a call strike. Kitty, recently, I don't know if you were watching the game when we were in Detroit, and mentioned Luis became a proud papa. Throw to first by Hideki as he fields his position. And that's out number 2 for the first time. 3 times over.
Triplets.
Triplets.
Yeah.
He and his wife Christine. Imagine that. First time you have a child, you have not one,
needs
not
a little,
2 but 3. Yeah.
He needs a little counseling in how to handle those 3. He can call the Yankee offices and ask for Robert Brown.
Yeah, that's right.
He's got Robert's triplets, I guess, are several months old by now.
You always see Robert, and he's the guy who's trying to catch a little nap every once in a while.
That's right.
Here is Trey Beeman, who has struck out swinging twice. Like my neighbors back home, they just had twins around Christmas time, and my dad says there's always somebody awake in our house. Ooh, that just missed. 2 balls and no strikes.
But you could hear the call, and I like that from an umpire. He leaves no doubt. He didn't say ball, he said inside. A lot of times hitters will say, was it inside, was it high? Tim Cheat will let you know.
No doubt about that, but 3 balls and no strikes. Joe Randa is on deck for the Tigers. There's a look at the first game hero for Detroit. Hideki's going to have to fight his way back against Beeman. And that one's low. It's a 4-pitch walk. 4th walk allowed by Arabu. Well, now we have a bit of a wait here as Randa steps in. And our New York Marriott Marquee pitching matchup. Bryce Fleury, 5 innings, 6 hits, couple of earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Arabu, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 5 2/3, only 3 hits and 1 earned run. Here's Joe Randa. Very effective at hitting the ball the other way. Here's a toss over the first. That chases Beeman back. Got a sizable lead over there at first base. Fly ball hits sharply to center, but Curtis has it and makes the catch, and that's it. Tigers will leave a man here at the top of the 6th inning. Hideki Arabu is allowed 1 through 6. We're headed to the bottom of the 6th inning. There's your score, 4-1 Yankees. Fans, New York Yankee baseball is brought to you in part by National Finance Corporation. Homeowners, lower your monthly payments. Apply by phone at 1-800-LOAN-NFC. Yankees half of the 6th. They're up 4-1, and Joe Girardi's going to lead it off. A bouncing ball. Randa with the play, the long throw, and it's a foul ball over at third. So Girardi will have to do it all over again. Randa made a nice play on the backhand, but all goes for naught. Girardi's been part of the Yankee offense in this 2nd game.
See Randa, the backhand side. He doesn't know at that particular time it's foul. You keep playing it till you hear the umpire. Always got that grin on his face, doesn't he?
The Joker.
Joking Joe.
Sinkers low to Girardi. I mentioned he's been part of the Yankee offense. Had a leadoff single in the 3rd inning. Came around to score the Yankees' first run. And helped set up the 3-run outburst in the 4th inning with a sacrifice. Broken bat roller. It's going to be a tough play for Easley. Throws on the first in time to get Girardi. Heard you mentioning those quick steps and then slowing down just as you get to the ball to gather yourself. And it was illustrated by the play by Easley.
Yeah, knowing that Girardi has pretty good speed, and you referred to Girardi being a part of the offense tonight. In this game so far, the Yankees have made some productive outs. That's all it would have taken in game 1 to get a win, is to sacrifice fly a productive out. The Yankees are so good at that.
But Randa in on the grass. Homer Bush has his 2nd hit of the night. A single will join the double that he had in the 1st inning. And of course, when Homer Bush is aboard, speed is on base.
Well, and as Suzyn Waldman had mentioned, a lot of teams probably interested in Homer Bush. Homer says there's some scouts in the stands. I want to put on a little show. Randa respecting the speed, and even with the bag, Homer drives that past him. So he's got a double, a single, and a sacrifice bunt. That hit that Derek thought he had was changed to an error.
He's already had a good day with 5 hits. His average now up to .318, which is going to give him up maybe in the league leaders tomorrow when you open up the newspaper. Slide it, low it in for a ball.
He's coming off a tough road trip, and just watching his at-bats tonight, it's almost like you can crawl inside Derek's batting helmet there, and he has said to himself, I got to start hitting the ball to right field. I got to wait and take it the other way. That's where his hits have been.
Ball two, 2 balls and no strikes. When you look at the batting leaders today, it was Ivan Rodriguez of the Texas Rangers with a .347 average up on top. And the top 10 runs all the way down to .316. So if Jeter can maintain the .318 or above, he should be in the top 10 tomorrow or today. And that's going to go up even more. Solid single to center field. Bush is going to round second, head for third. Here's the throw. It's off line and he's in there. Speed on the bases. That was a solid line drive, and he still made it to third base on Brian Hunter.
Derek Jeter says, we don't play many of these doubleheaders. I want to take advantage of it. That pitch was on the inside part of the plate, and he still took it to the right field side of second. Hunter plays it as well as he can. That's just a nice read by Homer Bush and a lot of speed. Even with that charging the ball and a strong throw, Bush is in easily. The throw off target.
Yeah, you've heard of smoke on the water. There's speed on the bases. Here is Paul O'Neill. Willie Randolph with instructions to Homer Bush at third. More speed on the bases with Jeter over at first base. Back-to-back singles with 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 6th. Low outside to O'Neill, who's singled, then an RBI in the 4th inning.
And if you'd say a pitcher was ever vulnerable to give up a long ball, you'd say Fleury right now. The pitch count is over 100. The guy has never been particularly durable, and you know that stuff cannot be quite as sharp as it was early in the game.
Check swing, and it's outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Well, batting leaders are brought to you by New York Presbyterian Hospital, the area's new leader in healthcare. Batting leaders: Juan Gonzalez in RBIs, Ken Griffey Jr., Albert Bell, Tino Martinez, Paul O'Neill, and Damian Easley. 3 of the leaders in the game tonight. Back towards the middle. Nice stop by Easley. The cruise for walk. The throw to first for the double play. And the Tigers get out of it with any damage here in the 6th inning. So a nicely turned double play on the sharp ball hit by Paul O'Neill. Yankees do not score here in the 6th. After 6, the Yankees have the lead. Hello, Belleville. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Hoover. Nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody. Hideki Irabu with a 3-run lead as we head to the 7th inning. The Iron Man at the plate, Paul Baco. Baku walked and scored in the 5th inning. Also stole a base. Pretty good wheels for a catcher. Lifts a high, lazy fly ball to left field for Tim Raines. Rock puts it away, 1 down. 1 pitch and 1 out for Irabu here in the 7th.
Yeah, that's a welcome out if you're Hideki Irabu. The key word: 1 pitch, 1 out. Hot night. Bullpen has been used, and if you're Tiger hitters right now playing the scoreboard, you say you got to make this guy work. He's already walked 4, gone some deep counts, so to get a 1 pitch out this stage of the game is huge.
Hideki has walked 4 tonight. Nasty pitch, curveball for a strike. The Tigers, along with the Kansas City Royals, the 2 teams that walked the least in the American League. And there are hitters, as that curveball's in the dirt, they seem to they can't go more than 2 pitches without swinging the bat. They got to swing. The next one's got to be somewhere where I can hack at it. I think David Cruz falls into that category. He didn't swing at the last one. Didn't swing at that one either. Ball at 2 strikes.
But Irabu gives you that nice slow motion, little hesitation, and then boy, does he get some arm speed on that fastball.
1-2 pitch. Curveball, slow roller to short. Jeter on the charge, and now the throw. 2 outs. Hideki in his last start against Detroit at Tiger Stadium only struck out 1 while going 8 shutout innings. Brian Hunter.
Oh. That's a tough doubleheader right there.
Well, you got to mix in some walks somewhere. Keep that 0 for 11 off of you. That's what he is right now in this doubleheader. He started the first game at 259. He has dropped 8 points on his average. Fly ball to right field for O'Neill. It's going to be an easy 1-2-3 inning for Hideki Irabu here in the 7th. Nothing across for the Tigers. 7th inning stretch. Second time tonight. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers. You might have seen a few of their products right there on the Major Diggin. New pitcher, first game winner, A.J. Sager. Picked up a win in the first game. He's going to perform again here in the second.
Just called up yesterday.
As the Yankees, the fans that are left here, then we had a crowd for the doubleheader, 36,285. The fans are really taking advantage of this second 7th inning stretch, as you can see.
A lot of that cotton candy acting up down there in the stands.
Well, actually, you know, you go back to 7. It's the 24th inning stretch.
That's right.
Strawberry, Raines, and Curtis scheduled to hit for the Yankees against A.J. Sager. Darrell has struck out and walked twice. Upstairs for ball 1.
Boy, Derek Jeter has had some night, not only at the plate. Start adding up the number of assists and chances he's had at shortstop. Probably never played a doubleheader in amateur ball, maybe a few down in the minor leagues, but draft pick in the 90s, doubleheader is certainly strange to them.
That's why shortstop is primarily a young man's position.
Yeah.
3 balls, no strikes on Strawberry. Darrell swings, rolls one to short for David Cruz, who will throw him out. So Sager went the long way to get Darrell, but got him on a 3-0 pitch. And that'll bring up Rock Raines.
Darrell looking fastball, and Sager even on 3-0, a little bit of an off-speed pitch.
Early Tuesday morning here at Yankee Stadium, and here is our Aflac trivia quiz. For those of you early birds, Albert Bell hit home run number 300 Friday night in his 1,171st game. One fewer game than Babe Ruth took to hit 300. And there were 3 other players who did it in fewer games.
One of them is a popular name in New York. One of them is a player that I played with for quite a few years, a Hall of Famer.
Pitches outside.
And one is in the headlines quite a bit lately these days.
1-1 on Raines. Good movement, but it's upstairs. 2 balls and a strike. One of them is somebody you played with. I think I might have that one.
You had 573 of them lifetime.
I'm right. That was a good guess. 3 balls and a strike on Raines. I think I know the second one, the most recent player. And who was the third one?
Well, he's popular here in New York. He may have done a little work earlier tonight. Might have had a little involvement in a baseball game.
Ball strike on Raines will run the count full at 3-2.
There was a famous quote that had a little something to do with his career when his general manager said, "We finished last with you, we can finish last without you." So they cut his pay even when he led the league in home runs.
Wow. Tough league in those days. Something tells me there was no arbitration. Huh?
No.
Raines takes a 1-out walk here in the 7th.
3-0 to Strawberry, and then a full count walk. Kind of looks like Sager feeling the effects of warming up in game 1 and coming back in game 2.
Here is Chad Curtis. Singleton scored in the 4th inning. 1 for 3 here in this second of 2. To the right side, it's going to roll through for the base hit. Graves recognizing right away and is on his way to third. So Chad Curtis, maybe not the most solid of hits he's ever had, but that's what that right side is for.
Joe Torre probably saying makes up for some of the line drives in game 1. Off the end of the bat, well placed. Raines takes a quick look at right field. He knows he can make it to third. These are important innings right now for the Yankees. It would be good for Hideki Irabu's cause to have a few more runs to work with, and also Joe Torre wouldn't have to go to that bullpen phone. You have a little margin for error. The Yankees been scoring early, but they haven't busted anything open late.
Nice sinking fastball for a called strike. This is where the Yankees, during the course of this year, we've seen them tack on runs and put the game out of reach. They've got a chance to do it here in the bottom of the 7th, 1st and 3rd with 1 out.
Well, you know from sitting in a lot of dugouts, Kenny, when you look over at the opposing team right now, you get a couple of hits and make it 6-1. The heads start to drop in that opposing dugout in the 7th inning. But if it just stays a 2 or a 3 run lead, then there's still some hope. Everybody over there is saying, hey, get a couple men on, get that tie and run to the plate. So
you never know, we might go 17.
Right. So it's just one of those key hits late in the game that can break it open.
Yeah, they're saying we're great when it gets to the 17th. There goes Curtis. The pitch is high and outside. To throw to second is high, and it's in time.
Wow.
Curtis thought he was in there. John Shulot with the call.
No argument from Joe Torre. He must have just slid right into the tag. Curtis with a quick peek in. Yep. He just slid right in. If he can slide a little away from it, but you can see Cruz got the tag down just before Curtis's front foot hit the bag. John Shulot right on the call.
Well, now that changes the complexion of the inning.
I think when you poll the players, John Shulot, one of the more respected umpires in the American League.
Pitch is spoiled, and the count is 2-2.
See, there's the tag. And you can see right there's Chad Curtis's foot has not touched second base. See, he slid right into that. If he slides away from the bag toward the outfield, the old-fashioned hook slide, right? You might have had a chance to get in there.
2-2 on Swain. That'll run it full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs now. Raines at third base. Payoff pitch. Hit hard and right to David Cruz. Now it's going to be called a line drive out. He caught it on the air, but in the air, but made no doubt about it by throwing the first. 7 innings complete. Hideki's out to the mound with a 4-1 lead.
Top of the 8th, the Yankees lead it 4-1. And Hideki Irabu right here will work through the heart of the Tiger order. This is his last inning in terms of the way he has to approach this. You got Easley, Higginson, and Clark. If you get through this inning, still have a 3-run lead, then you work to the bottom part in the 9th. There's the good curveball. Boy, did that freeze Easley. That was a real jelly leg right there. 0-2.
Locked him up.
See that front knee. Oop. And then the fastball in the hole. This will be a tough one for Jeter. Can't get it. Played it as well as he could. That's the 17th chance that Derek Jeter has had in this doubleheader. And he has handled them all flawlessly.
He easily has much two-getter speed. This is too deep in the hole to try and get him out. And you can see he's not even in frame as Swain makes the catch. But Jeter set up, made the play as well as he could. Strong throw. But easily smelling that base hit, picks up his first hit in the second game.
Derek's made more pitches than a lot of relief pitchers make sometimes in an appearance. 17 chances. And here come the Tigers. They're down 3. Higginson steps in with nobody out and Clark on deck. Easily saw his streak of 59 errorless games come to an end when he committed an error back in the 4th inning tonight.
That base hit easily is now hitting 15 straight games.
Fastball in for a strike. Tony Clark waits on deck. Inside, said Tim Cheetah. Joe Girardi sort of half turns to Tim and a little discussion about that pitch. Cheetah certainly had a good look at it. He was in great position to see it. Off-speed pitch. Count is 2-1.
Yeah, I think about Irabu and his move to first base and how much that has improved this year. Remember last year he had all those problems with the balks. The Yankees as a team have been called for only 2 balks all season long. One of them belongs to Hideki and the other to Mike Buddy.
Yeah, he's made a lot of improvement in that pitch wide and low and inside rather, and it's 3-1. A lot of improvement, I think, in not worrying as much about the runners. Both saw action in game 1, Ramiro Mendoza and Mike Stanton. And Mel Stottlemyre going to see how quickly they can get ready. Deep to right. O'Neill at the track is going to look up, and this one is upper deck. Bobby Higginson has brought the Tigers within 1.
Well, Higginson's been all around it tonight. He's had some good swings, fouled some pitches off, pulled them foul, but he didn't miss that one. His 19th home run of the season. And the Tigers have come to within 1. The target is outside, but it's going to get a little bit of the middle of the plate and up, and then further up and away.
Yeah, danger of being behind in the count. You can see Higginson sitting on that fastball. Turned it around. The lead is cut to 1, and Hideki Irabu's night is over after 7+ innings of work. Back on MSG after this. The lead is cut. Nobody out. Top of the 8th. Mike Stanton will face Tony Clark, and it's a good time to remind you that you can play ball with the Yankee legends. Whitey Ford, Catfish Hunter, Goose Gossage, Greg Nettles, many more of the all-time Yankee greats. The Yankee Fantasy Camp will take place January 16th through the 22nd in 1999. That's down at the Yankee Spring Training Home, Legend Field in Tampa, Florida. Age 30 or older only, space limited. For $4,295, the proceeds benefit the Yankee Foundation. You can call 1-800-368-CAMP.
Well, I haven't played with, but I've played against Hunter, Gossage, and Nettles. I can tell you those guys were good.
Yeah, and so is Whitey Ford.
Yeah.
I got a chance to play against him. They've stuck around, the fans, from 4 o'clock this afternoon. I think we have announced the official crowd. Give it to you again, 36,000 plus. Yeah, the key for Mike Stanton right now, he gets into some ruts where he just can't seem to find the strike zone. In game 1, he issued 3 walks in 1 inning. And he will now face Tony Clark. First pitch swinging. Soho is there. And that's a big out. To get Tony Clark on one pitch with a 1-run lead in the 8th inning is a big out for the Yankees and Mike Stanton. Remember that trivia question, the Aflac trivia quiz? Albert Bell hit number 300 in his 1,171st game, 1 game fewer than the Babe. Name the 3 players who did it quicker than that. Ralph Kiner got there the quickest of all, and then the killer, Harmon Killebrew, and Mark McGwire, who hit his 43rd home run tonight.
1066. Wasn't that the year that the Magna Carta was signed? Excuse me. History of the dates. The Normans invaded England in 1066.
That's it. Luis Gonzalez 1 for 9 in the doubleheader. And Stanton behind in the count, 2-0. That's in for a strike, and Mike loses his footing. Important out because look who's waiting on deck. The Yankee killer, Geronimo Barroa.
Detroit used to have a Yankee killer back in the 50s and the 60s, but he was a pitcher. Frank Larry, yeah.
Taters Larry.
Yeah.
I remember pitching against Frank Larry as a youngster, and came back to the dugout remarking about the unusual fly ball left field. Raines is there. Plenty of room. There's the old can of corn. And there's 2 down. I came into the dugout and I said, there's something wrong with that mound. There's a hole about 6 to 8 inches ahead of the rubber. I don't know how it got there. All the veterans laughed. That was Frank Larry. He took a little step. He got a 6 to 8 inch advantage. He was only throwing the ball about 59.5 feet. So with the Yankees holding a 1-run lead, 2 out in the 8th inning, probably the most dangerous man in that Tiger dugout will step in against Mike Stanton.
Barroa has, you saw 1 home run this year. Well, that was career home run number 100 for him. Ex-teammate of mine, Lee May, used to say, if you have less than 100 home runs in the big leagues, a pitcher is only in your pamphlet. Once you've got 100 home runs, you can say, I've got 100 guys in my book.
In your book, yeah. Good pitch by Stanton to start. Barroa off, fastball outside corner. Another one grounded toward through the wickets. Swain can't make the play, and Barroa will reach on a 2-out error. It looked like an easy inning ending out.
Got a little bit of leather, but not much on the way through. There it is, right behind you. As Dale misplays this ball, and it gives the Tigers a little added chance here in the 8th inning.
Got through the wickets, but couldn't smother it. And here's that man again, the hitting hero of game number 1. Joe Randa, 0 for 3 in this one. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's got about a 4-foot lead.
Got one of those why me looks on his face. Look at that lead.
Outside edge, strike 1.
If Barroa dove back, he'd end up in the first base coaching box.
Just outside, a ball and a strike. Big night of action if you haven't been with us the entire night and part of the morning. One of those rare doubleheaders. Started at 4 o'clock. David Wells, the Yankee starter, pitched effectively for 6 2/3 innings. There's a good off-speed pitch. It's 1-2 to Randa. Yankees had a 3-1 lead. Tigers came back. Joe Randa knocked in the tying run in the 7th inning, and then we went to the 17th inning before he finally knocked in the game winner. Both teams used their entire bullpen. Fans looking for strike 3. And it's fouled out of play. Randa stays alive, still 1-2. In this one, the Yankees got on the board in the 3rd. That was Derek Jeter's RBI single, and they added 3 more in the 4th. Only 2 of them off Bryce Floyd, the starter, were earned. Tigers have committed a couple of errors. Grounded out in front of the mound. Stanton is there. Strong throw to Swain in time. So Mike Stanton with a good job in relief of Hideki Arabu. The Yankees will take that 1-run lead to the bottom of the 8th and try to add to it when we come back on MSG. Back at the stadium, the bottom of the 8th inning, the Yankees holding a 1-run lead. And tomorrow, rather later today, New York and Detroit will meet again as the Yankees continue their battle with the Tigers. First pitch set for 7:30. Then on Wednesday afternoon, close out this 4-game series with an early start, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's all live and coming your way this week on MSG. Be sure and check your local listings. A quick strike from Matt Anderson, and we mean quick. Doesn't show on that graphic his strikeout ability. Fastball in the upper 90s, and he's quickly ahead of Soho, 0-2. And the clock struck 1.
We're still having fun, though.
Yep. 9 hours of fun-filled big league baseball. Whoosh. 0-2 sweeping breaking ball, and Soho is down on strikes. Up to try to come in and close it and save it for Hideki Arabu is Mariano Rivera. If he does, it would be Arabu's 9th win. Joe Girardi got the Yankees started back in that 3rd inning. Singleton scored the first run. Late on the fastball, and it's a quick strike.
It's the first time I've had a look at Anderson. Actually, second time with the first game. He was here in 1976. That was the year I was born. Anderson on Mark Fidrich. Speaking of the former Tigers starter.
Don Zimmer looking on from the Yankee dugout, and reminds me of a conversation we had this winter as Arabu was 3 outs away from winning his 9th game. Late on the fastball. Remember last year everybody talked about Hideki being such a bust, and they didn't take into consideration that he didn't have a full spring, but the last month was effective. And Zim and I talking during the winter, he said, I'll tell you one guy next year who I think is going to win 12 to 15 games, and a lot of people don't think he will. And he said that's Hideki Arabu, because he really started to get sharp in the month of September. In fact, I was surprised the Yankees didn't put him on their postseason roster last year. The way he handled Manny Ramirez. In on the hands out toward Davy Cruz. He'll toss out Girardi, and there's 2 down in the bottom of the 8th. And a look at the city from our Skycam, brought to you by National Finance Corporation. Homeowners, lower your monthly payments. Apply by phone, 1-800-LOAN-NFC. Beautiful night. Actually a beautiful Tuesday morning in the city with the lights sparkling.
A city that never sleeps.
Can't sleep in this game till November. We found that out tonight. Homer Bush, he's going to get another one. He's got the hat trick. Wide turn by Homer Bush, and he has taken advantage of his opportunity to play. That's his 3rd hit plus the sacrifice bunt. Nice night.
Not wasting any time. You saw how everybody else was late on the fastball. This one was down a little bit. All he had to do was drop the head of the bat and get it back through the middle. Homer now with 10 hits in 26 at-bats on the season. Just under 400.
There's a look at Derek Jeter's night. In addition to handling 17 chances in the field, he is 6 for 12 in the doubleheader. See if Homer Bush tries to steal second base. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't have to. He can trot in there. And Matt Anderson throws that ball to first base as fast as he does to home plate, and it was off target. Third error of the night by the Tigers.
There's a throw into the runner. Tony Clark, not much chance. Once he couldn't reach it, it was by him in an eyelash. And Bush on into second.
A few more gray hairs for Buddy Belt. His team has not scored as many runs as they did last year, and they have given up more. All adds up to not quite as successful a year. Another look at Derek Jeter's night. Breaking ball in for a strike. Homer Bush, you mentioned, got his first extra base hit in the big leagues tonight, a double. He also has his first career 3-hit game as a big leaguer. Low for a ball, 1-1. Looking ahead to the ninth, the Yankees will try to earn the split in the doubleheader. They'll have to get out Trey Beeman, Joe Randa. Oh, I think Paul Bacco will lead it off. They'll work down the bottom of the order. They got through the meat of it with Higginson getting the 2-run homers. So Mariano Rivera will face the number 8 and 9 man.
Yeah,
O'Neill waits.
We got to figure that no other team in the major leagues has their 1996 first draft pick and their 97 pick on the major league roster. We saw Greisinger in the first game, and now Anderson here in the second. Anderson also pitched in the first. But maybe it shows you how Detroit thinks when they're picking pitchers, but they're also picking pitchers out of university, college pitchers, a little more mature.
And getting to the big leagues a little faster than other organizations. They're a very, very young team. Jeter draws a walk. And O'Neill, who has had a lot of good swings tonight, but he may not get an opportunity against Matt Anderson. He may have to face Sean Runyon. And Buddy Belt is going to make the move to the bullpen, and lefty Sean Runyon will come in to try to retire Paul O'Neill, as Matt Anderson still experiencing some control problems here in his early stages of his big league career. 2 men on, 2 out, bottom of the 8th. Yankees lead it by a run. Back on MSG after this.
When you ship with Priority Mail.
Yeah, it's a good night to let your hair down. A lot of records being set. Tigers have played their longest doubleheader ever. Yeah, those 9-hour doubleheaders will do that stuff to you. Whole lot of shaking going on.
Much too much energy in the upper deck.
And cotton candy will get to you after a long doubleheader.
Oh my goodness.
Trying to loan some to a partner.
That was worth the price of admission.
Sean Runyon, the durable lefty, has been in more games than any relief pitcher. Comes on for the 55th time. He'll try to retire Paul O'Neill with a couple of men on and 2 out here in the Yankee 8th. Outside edge, strike 1 to O'Neill. Paul's had a lot of good swings tonight. It just, in his opinion, I don't think he'd say he has a lot to show for it. He did get a few knocks in the first game. Got one in this one, hit into a double play as well. That's outside, 1-1.
The Yankees had some chances here to tack on, as you like to call it, Kitty, but O'Neill hit into a double play in the 6th inning. Then they had Curtis caught stealing in the 7th. And it took them out of that inning. They got another opportunity here in the 8th.
2 men on right here with Bush and Jeter at second and first. Foul out of play again, just a little late. I saw Tino Martinez making some motions earlier in the night like he was trying to get on top of the ball and he was just getting underneath it, and that is what it looks like from O'Neill, like he's just a little bit under the ball, and balls that he drives to left field tonight, he's just hitting little foul pops over the visiting dugout.
When you said just a little late, were you talking about the night itself or?
Bernie Williams, if O'Neill reaches, will get a chance to bat. It won't happen. Outside corner, strike 3. O'Neill down on strikes, and we head to the 9th. We've had a couple of low-scoring affairs. Tigers took the first one 4-3. Yankees trying to answer with the same score. 9th inning coming up when we come back.
Available through Ticketmaster and the Madison Square Garden box office. City Hawks Arena Football. The game is gonna get you.
Yankees lead at 4-3. We head to the top of the 9th, and a reminder that the Liberty will take on the Detroit Shock at the Garden. That's Sunday, July 26th, a 4 o'clock start. Tickets for all games available at the Garden box office, or you can call Ticketmaster at 212-307-7171. 32nd game, looking for save number 25. And it would stop a bit of a mini slide here by the Yankees, having lost 4 of the last 5. And these two teams in the 90s have played 5 doubleheaders. That includes tonight's, and very unusual. They have not split any of them. The Yankees have swept 3. Tigers have swept 1. Scott Brocious in the game to take over at third base. And Baco to lead it off. Fastball in for a strike. Also worked in game number 1, but Joe Torre, as Buddy Bell did, that's off the edge. 1-1. Careful to use all of his relief pitchers just for 3 or 4 outs and get them out of there so they would be available. Davy Cruz waiting on deck. Ooh. In the kitchen, 1-2. Don't know how badly the hamstring of Raul Casanova is, the Tiger catcher, but if he's available, you might see him pinch hit for Cruz, left-hand, or rather switch hitter with a little power from the left side.
I saw Casanova sitting on the bench during this second game. There is Raul, but you got to wonder.
He doesn't look like he's ready to hit. Little jam shot to shortstop. Jeter is there. That's his 18th chance in the doubleheader. He puts it away, 1 down. Still having fun after a long night at the ball yard. And Cruz will hit. I guess, Kenny, if you're Raul Casanova and it's 1:15 in the morning and you're saying, do I want to go up and hit off that Rivera fastball after sitting here for this long? I don't think so.
If he had a sore hamstring at 10 o'clock last night, I'm sure it's at 1:16 in the morning it's still acting up.
Pitch low to Cruz for a ball. David Cone will pitch tomorrow. There's Joe Randa. He was the hitting hero in game 1 for the Tigers. Cone will pitch for the Yankees as Cruz chops this out towards second. Homer Bush is there. And the Yankees are 1 out away from a split of this lengthy, record-setting doubleheader. The longest doubleheader the Tigers have ever played. And you see this graphic right here. Brian Hunter in the doubleheader has tied a major league record for the longest offer. And one more out, he'd have it to himself, a record he'd rather not have. Strike one. Bob Savarin, the old utility switch hitting infielder of the Orioles and the Senators, held that record. Towards second base. Bush is there. Off balance throw. And Swain there to make the play. And the Yankees have earned a split of the doubleheader, and in the process, Brian Hunter sets a major league record. He went 0 for 13 in the twin bill. So the Yankees chew up a little time in the schedule. They earn a split with the Tigers, run their record to 69 and 25. Another outstanding effort by a starting pitcher. Wells a good job in game one, didn't come away with a win, but Hideki Irabu in 7+ innings in this one picks up his 9th win of the year against just 3 losses.
And the Yankees gain a split. What they say about gaining a split, you get momentum going into the next day's game by winning the second game of a doubleheader. And another thing about winning the second game of a doubleheader, if you happen to split it, you get to laugh in the shower. That's always a little more fun.
Well, it was a big night for Homer Bush. He got his first extra base hit, his first career 3-hit game, and he gets to make the game-ending play by getting Brian Hunter. A nice night for Homer Bush in game 2. We'll wrap this one up on MSG when we come back after this. $36,000+ were on hand to watch the Tigers and the Yankees in a doubleheader. Let's check out the Jeep Eagle game summary in game 2. Same score as game 1. Yankees win this one 4-3. Hideki Irabu wins it. It's his 9th win. Mariano Rivera saves it, his 25th. Bobby Higginson had a home run, his 19th. Homer Bush with a nice game. First career 3-hit game. Irabu now 4-0 against the Tigers. And Derek Jeter with a nice night in the field and a 500 hitter at the plate. He went 6 for 12. Let's check out our Dodge drive of the game.
Dodge drive of the game came in the 4th inning when the Yankees scored 3 runs. The 4th run was driven in on this base hit by Paul O'Neill right back through the middle. The outburst enabled the Yankees to hold on and pick up a win in the second game of this doubleheader. As Kitty mentioned, the final score was 4-3, and once again, Hideki Irabu beats the Detroit Tigers. His first win ever against the Tigers last year at Yankee Stadium, and 3 times since he has beaten them. Now, the only reason this was a doubleheader tonight, because earlier this year, a game that Irabu started here at Yankee Stadium in which the Yankees were leading but was eventually rained out. In that game, Irabu had 8 strikeouts in 4 innings. So it looked like he was on his way to a victory against the Tigers on that day. He had to wait a little bit longer, as we all did tonight, but he got the win.
Yeah, both teams got here about 1 o'clock this afternoon. The doubleheader lasted well over 9 hours total time, and each team comes away with a win. It's the first doubleheader of the 5 that these two teams have played that they've switched. But I think now going ahead to later tonight with a split in this doubleheader, a rematch of pitchers last week in the Detroit series, and the Yankees with a bit of an edge there with David Cone here at home.
David Cone at home has been very tough at Yankee Stadium, and just tough everywhere. He lost his last start, so you know he wants to get right back on that winning track, and so do the Yankees for that matter. After winning tonight's game, they want to make it at least 2 out of 3 in the first 3 of 4 in this series.
All right, stay with us on MSG. We'll wrap this one up, plus some information from Bill Daughtry at the sports desk. Right now, we'll step aside for these commercial messages. Yankees win it 4-3.
Summer me.
Bill Daughtry at the MSG Sports Desk. Those New York Mets couldn't deliver in the clutch on Monday night at Shea. Piazza, Hundley, and Bernard Gilkey all retired in order with the bases loaded in the first. Pirates went on to beat the Mets 3-1. The ex-girlfriend of Marlins pitcher Livan Hernandez told a story of physical abuse on Monday. Alina Elgar-Resta testified for 90 minutes in a Miami courtroom. She wants a permanent restraining order against Hernandez. The pitcher appears on Tuesday. Albert Bell is out on $100 bail. the Chicago White Sox slugger. He was arrested for assault on Sunday night. Bell says there's no validity to the charge. Former Ranger head coach Colin Campbell is the new vice president of the National Hockey League. Administration of fines and suspensions among Coley's new duties. The New York Rangers signed free agent center Derek Armstrong on Monday. Armstrong scored 2 goals for Ottawa last season. These NFL notes: the Oakland Raiders have signed Heisman Trophy winner Charles Woodson to a 6-year contract. Peyton Manning, the #1 pick in this year's NFL draft, he's still unsigned by the Indianapolis Colts. Manning said Monday he doesn't know if he'll be in camp without a deal. Colts training camp opens on Thursday. And the agent for Denver running back Terrell Davis has reportedly asked the Broncos to do the final 3 years of the Super Bowl MVP's contract. You're up to date on the rest of the sports world. We'll send you back to Yankee Stadium for more on the Yankees and Tigers after these commercial messages.
Once again, the final scores of tonight's doubleheader. Game 2, the Yankees win at 4-3. Hideki Irabu picks up the win. He's 9-3, and Mariano Rivera saved his 25th game of the year. In Game 1, 17 innings, and the Tigers prevailed 4-3. A.J. Sager gets the win. Darren Holmes takes the loss. Coming up next with Mike Crispino and Michael Kay, our Jeep and Eagle post-game report. We remind you to be with us again tomorrow night starting at 7 o'clock with the New York City Marriott's Yankees scorecard show, the Tigers and the Yankees. Mike Crispino will take a nice look at Homer Bush. David Cohn will do the pitching. A wild and wacky and long night. Derek Jeter trying to encourage his teammates. He got 6 hits in the doubleheader. Big night in Game 2 by Homer Bush. 3 hits sparkled in the field. Chuck Knobloch watched Game 2 for Leon Schreier, Bill Webb, Andrew Braun, Eddie Caginelli, our entire crew, my partner Ken Singleton, Jim Kaat saying so long from the stadium. Post-game coming up next.
New York Yankees baseball has been brought to you by The Dime, the bank that's with you all the way. By the 68,000 professionals at Delta Airlines. By the Discover Card. By your Tri-State GMC dealers, comfortably in command. And by Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Centers.
I know, it's just not fair. You get a little old.
It took a mere 8 hours and 38 minutes for the Yankees and Tigers to split tonight here at Yankee Stadium. Game 2 ending at 1:18 p.m. And now it's time for the Jeep Eagle postgame report brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep. And you know where it is. It's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. Game 1, 4-3 Tigers, 17 innings. Yanks leave 22 on, 1 short of their club record. Joe Randa had the key RBI. Darren Holmes the loss. Game 2, Rivera win a save, number 25. For Hideki Irabu, was a perfect 4-0 against the Detroit Tigers in his career, an ERA of 1.82. Key pitching from Irabu in the second half of this one as the Yankees need to get the split, and Irabu gives them 7 solid innings. Hi, everybody. Mike Crispino with you for the postgame report brought to you by our Jeep and Eagle dealers. Michael Kay will join us from the clubhouse in just a couple of minutes, but this was a big win for the Yankees. I know record-wise it didn't matter that much, but when you lose the way they lost in Game 1, in a game that took 5 hours and 50 minutes, it just showed a little bit about the intestinal fortitude the Yankees had by coming back and winning Game 2 behind Irabu. Good night for Derek Jeter and Homer Bush as well, as Bush had a big game in the second game with 3 hits. Yanks win at 4-3. Time for the highlights brought to you by Discover Card. The playback payback, and Yankee fans came out. 36,000 plus were shielding their eyes after Game 1's loss. But Derek Jeter got them going in Game 2. Bottom of the third inning, lines a single to right. Joe Girardi would score, and the Yanks led it 1-0. In the fourth inning, Luis Sojo had singled one in to make it 2-0. And Derek Jeter, who went 6 for 12 on the night, originally credited for a base hit on this. It was an error eventually. Dale Swaim scored. That made it 3-0. Next batter is Paul O'Neill. Rips it up the middle through the pitcher Bryce Fleury's legs, and the Yankees had an insurmountable 4-0 lead. There were moments later. Bobby Higginson struck out here by Irabu. Again, 7 strong innings for Hideki Irabu. Later, Higginson able to get to him, though, on a pitch high in the strike zone. He ripped it 398 feet into the upper deck. That made it 4-3. but Mike Stanton came on to get 3 outs. Mariano Rivera got the last 3 outs for save number 25. This to Brian Hunter, and a nice play by Homer Bush. Brian Hunter sets a major league record, going 0 for 13 in the doubleheader tonight as Rivera and the Yankees gain a split 4-3 after leaving 22 on in Game 1. They leave a bundle on in Game 2, but they win it 4-3. We'll return in a moment.
You are watching the Jeep and Eagle post-game report, brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. This portable Iowa music system features a dual CD changer, double cassette deck, digital tuner, remote control, and Q sound for 3D enhancement. Call 1-800-BUY-IOWA.
36,285 arrived at around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon for the beginning of a doubleheader between the Tigers and Yanks. Game 1 went 17 innings. Game 2 began at 10:30. 2 hours and 48 minutes later, the Yanks won it by a final of 4-3. Michael Kay talked with Yankee manager Joe Torre about the day and night.
Joe, you left 22 runners on base in the first inning, 11, or the first game, 11 in this game. A little concerned with the clutch hitting?
Well, frustrated. I don't think I can be concerned because, see, the thing that is frustrating more than anything else, Mike, is the fact that you leave men at third base in less than 2 out. That's the one stat that we need to improve on. We did for a while. Early in the year, we were doing the same thing. We improved on it somewhat for a while, and then now it's back to not getting the guys in with the percentage we should get them in.
And does it become a snowball thing where they start to think about it and press?
Well, you have to sort of lighten up with it because I have no problem with my team's effort. It's just a matter of being able to take the right approach in that situation.
Would you say this was a really important win for your team rather than get into a losing scheme?
No question. Doubleheaders are very tough to win and easy to lose because you really don't have much time to regroup. But this is a good group. This is a good team as far as approach and bouncing back and emotionally. I mean, that first game we kept coming at them in spite of all the line drives we hit and the plays they made, and we became very frustrated in that first game. But we kept coming at them. So I'm proud of this ball club.
And so it is time now for the Clubhouse Report, brought to you by the New York Marriott Marquis. It's Broadway's biggest hit, and we are proud to present Michael Kay, direct from the clubhouse. And Mike, what a day and night it was. The enthusiasm in your voice on the radio, I want to tell you this, was amazing.
Because it's baseball. You should
love
baseball.
the game.
But did you just see Joe Torre? He came to the ballpark. At the beginning of the first game, he was clean shaven. And that was a pretty heavy beard he just had.
He could have gone to the electric razor between games. It's 8 hours and 38 minutes. But we're talking during the commercial break about the fact that, I know it sounds silly, 68 wins, 25 losses or thereabouts, and then this becomes a big game because they lost 4 out of 5, hadn't been hitting with men on base. If you lose 2 to the Tigers, who knows what direction you might head in?
Absolutely. All of a sudden, then you'd have lost 5 out of 6, and the Yankees just haven't been playing like that all year. They needed to stop it right there. And as Joe said, it's very easy to lose a doubleheader, especially when you lose a potentially, devastating game like the first one. I mean, 17 innings you go, use up your whole pitching staff, and you pretty much tell Arabu, you've got to give us 7 innings. So Arabu came up very big for them. Yeah, Arabu was one of the keys, and then Bush has a good game, and so does Derek Jeter, who I think we counted 18 chances for him in the doubleheader. I mean, he's a young man, but that's a long day for any shortstop. I was asking Derek just moments ago, are you exhausted? And Joe Girardi walked by. He's 24 years old. How exhausted can he be? Please. Absolutely. Key hit for Paul O'Neill. He hit the ball well in both ends of the doubleheader. Now, Joe Torre chose to play him 2 games. Bernie, he did not play 2 games. He sat down Knobloch. He made some choices there in that second game. Well, I think he gave Paul O'Neill 1 day off on the road trip, and he was trying to get different people days off. Derek Jeter doesn't want a day off because what he sells to Joe Torre is, listen, I had 15 days off during the DL. He doesn't want to miss any more games. I think it was good to give Knobloch a blow. Knobloch's been playing very well in the field, slumping a little bit offensively. He gave the good guys, the right guys rest. I think with Bernie Williams, just didn't want to push the knee. I mean, playing 17 innings, made a great running catch toward the end of the game. He did well offensively, better to sit him down. I think you might see Chad Curtis get the day off tomorrow. Little promotional message, Mike, for tomorrow's pregame show for the Yankees on MSG. We'll be talking to Homer Bush. He told me that he expects to be traded soon.
They've told him he's going to be traded. They've told him. You listen. He says they told me I'm going to be traded. Tonight, 3 hits, a couple of real nice plays in the field. Makes a good case for another team looking at him as a valuable commodity.
Well, you know, somebody told Homer he's going to be traded, but I would doubt if he was traded, and I'll tell you why. They do not have that aspect off the bench where they could send in a guy who can pinch run. That's it.
Good speed.
That's it. The only other guy they had was Ricky Leday. He showed he's got some pop in his bat. He's also very good at second base. He made a nice play to end the game on Brian Hunter. And if they are trading him, I think today the price went up. This is a pretty good player, a player that Joe Torre really likes, and it's something that the Yankees don't have off the bench. I think the Yankees will make some maneuvers, maybe get somebody conveniently DL'd, keep everybody around until September 1st, and then they don't have to trade Homer Bush. I don't see it happening. I'd be very shocked. And if they do trade him, it's going to be a pretty good player. But I don't see them doing it.
Let's remember this. He will be shocked. Sacrifice bunt also in his night.
He did a good job.
Along with his 3 hits. All right, we'll be back with more. This is the New York Yankee post-game report on MSG, brought to you by Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's Homer to end it.
You have been watching the Jeep and Eagle post-game report, brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer.
And so the Yankees snap out of a losing streak, 4 of their last 5 with a 4-3 win in Game 2 after going 17 innings in Game 1 and losing by a final of 4-3. We're back with Michael Kay for a few final thoughts, and David Cohn will go tomorrow. Good matchup. Brian Moeller, they met in Detroit last week, and Moeller's a tough right-hander. He's got 10 victories.
10 victories, 9-0 at home, though. He's a different pitcher on the road. He's 1-6. He's one of only 3 right-handers to beat the Yankees twice this year. Woody Williams, Jarrett Wright, and Brian Moeller. David Cohn pitched very well against the Tigers, but he got a loss, so we'll see what he does tomorrow.
All right, Cohn goes for victory number 14. That'll wrap it up for our post-game report here outside the Yankee clubhouse. Once again, a split of 2. Game 1 and 17 to the Tigers. 12th longest game in Yankee history. 5 hours and 50 minutes, went 17 innings. Chris Rock was on hand, the lethal weapon man, number 4. And Paul O'Neill had a lethal arm to double up a Tiger in that Game 1. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 for the New York City Marriott's Yankee scorecard. Join us, Tigers-Yankees again. Some great defense in Game 1. Posada throwing out the base runner. And Raul Casanova had to take a seat with a hamstring. That could be a problem for Buddy Bell in the lineup tomorrow. What a great play by Chad Curtis, one of several this afternoon. But Buddy Bell's team had the last laugh in Game 1, and on we went to Game 2, which began at 10:30. Derek Jeter with a key RBI. He had 6 hits on the night, and Paul O'Neill had 4 hits, and the game winner in Game 2. Hideki Arabu threw 107 pitches and made just 1 mistake to Bobby Higginson in the 8th inning. Mike Stanton came on, Mariano Rivera. They recorded the last 6 outs, and the Yankees with Homer Bush making the last great play, win it 4-3 in Game 2. So an even Steven split after 8 hours and 38 minutes. This is Mike Crispino. Good night from New York.
Good evening. It's Monday, July 20th.